Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Woodward Show here on the Woodward Sports Network, live at Feldman Chevrolet out in Novi. Thank you to everybody joining us this morning. My goodness. Look, there's a lot to talk about today, okay? There is a lot to talk about. You can talk about the Michigan game. You got to talk about Blake Corum. You got to talk about Kerby Joseph looking like the second coming of Jesus Christ. A lot to talk about today. A lot to talk about. The Lions ruined the Green Bay Packers season. That's the headline this morning. Let's start there.
Bye-bye, Aaron Rodgers. Bye-bye.
Get out of town.
Oh
We
my
didn't like
God,
you anyway.
I have been dying to smoke. I have been dying to smoke since the Washington game, and there's never been a good reason to.
You've gotten close.
And now there's a reason. Lions won. Defense stepped up. Aaron Rodgers played like a bitch. I think a lot of things are going well in this world right now. So how about we start there? How about we start with an apology? A lot of people in the chat, Adam, apologize. All right, give me 1 second. Can I get the camera on me? Apologize these nuts, bro. I'm not apologizing for a damn thing. Number one, we'll start there. So everybody who came here today expecting an apology, I have 2 nuts. You can pick which one you want to suck on, all right? I'll leave it there. Having said that, let's get the show started, baby. Aaron Rodgers, 3 interceptions. 3 interceptions, the first time since 2017. Aaron Rodgers has thrown 3 interceptions in a game. The Lions defense, Aaron Glenn, nothing but a standing ovation this morning for their performance on Sunday. You want to talk about pressure leading up to the week? You want to talk about pressure being a 1-6 football team? They answered the bell. Granted, Aaron Rodgers played like crap. The Packers offense really has no rhythm at all. Their red zone offense was atrocious. Aaron Rodgers, 2 red zone interceptions. That's the first time that's happened in almost 10 years.
Right, and they lost Dobbs early, too.
Yeah, but deal with it. Every team deals with injuries. I'm not giving the Packers an excuse.
No.
Having said
That's
that,
the reality, though.
Having said that, a very good win.
Right.
A win that, again, you want to talk about inspiring confidence. You want to talk about winning football. It's about winning football games. Do you think anybody cared that the Jets won by 3 points? Or that the Chargers only won? You just win. Just win. Winning cures all. Having said that, you're still a 2-6 football team, but I don't want to do that this morning. I've had 5 weeks in a row talking about a team that loses on a Monday. For God's sake, the fact that you get to talk about a win is a goddamn breath of fresh air in this town right now. So I'll take it. And we'll start with Kerby Joseph, clearly the player of the game. 2 interceptions, 3 batted balls. He was all over the field. My goodness, Kerby Joseph was not only the best player on the field, he might have been the defensive player of the week in the NFL, Jeff. Phenomenal performance, man. It was a damn good showing, and you gotta give credit where credit's due. They did win the game. You want to get into the nitty gritty, the details. Oh well, they were 0 for 2 on 4th down, or they should have taken the 3 points on the opening drive. Look, my job is to be as honest as I can with you every single day. Okay. On Mondays where you lose, yes, it's much easier to nitpick. But when you win, regardless of, yes, how poorly you did play, and the Lions did play poorly overall, you found a way to win. And that's all you can ask for in the NFL. And they won. So what is there to say this morning outside of smoking a nice hookah, acknowledging that Kerby Joseph is a damn good football player. It's a damn good game. Aidan Hutchinson's first career interception. Aaron Rodgers, there's no better feeling than sending the Packers to 3-6. By the way, fuck the Packers. We'll start with that this morning. 3-6, playoff hopes likely out of the picture for the Green Bay Packers, a 5-game losing streak.
Yeah.
With Aaron Rodgers this year. And you know what? You deserve it. You paid him $50 million. It was the wrong move. That's what happens when you pay an old quarterback all that money and you trade away Devonta Adams. They had it coming. Their defense actually played pretty well, if I'm honest with you.
Right.
And if, again, we want to be even more honest, the Packers' offense really did drive up and down the field on the defense, except the defense today showed up and made plays when they had to on Sunday. They made the red zone interceptions. They forced turnovers. They put pressure on Aaron. Aidan Hutchinson, God bless his soul, he might lead the league in the most non-called holding penalties in the NFL. Unbelievable. But, Jeff, a good win. It is a good win. I'm tired of talking about a team that just loses week in and week out. It's a 5-game losing streak. They got off the schneid. Yes, they're 2-6. Yes, tomorrow we can take calls and talk about they're still a 2-6 team, 0 for 2 on 4 down. You can do all that tomorrow. I'm not interested in doing it. Very few Mondays are reserved for a Lions win with this guy as the head coach, so I'm going to take advantage of it, Jeff.
Right. And on top of that, we talked about this yesterday at the pregame show, is how is this secondary and this defense going to respond with the firing of Aubrey Pleasant? And they responded. I mean, you talk about Aaron Rodgers, his career against the Detroit Lions. Coming into this game, he was 52 touchdowns and 8 interceptions. He had 3 interceptions yesterday. He's never had 3 interceptions facing the Lions in his entire career. So it was a big day. Give credit where it's due. Give credit to Aaron Glenn, the game plan he put together. I think he called a great game. And for this defense to put together the performance they put together for the entirety of the game is what stands out to me. Because we saw even on the road in Dallas, you hold the Cowboys to 10 points in the fourth quarter, and things get out of hand quickly. The offense is turning over the ball, and it went south very quick. In this game, it's different. Although the offense didn't necessarily show up, they got the job done, and that's all that matters. Find a way to win. And for this Packers team, yeah, we could talk about the deficiencies they have coming into the year. It is now their 5th loss in a row. But for the Lions to end their 5-game losing streak and get a win at home, you saw the post-game video that the Lions put out. I mean, that was special, man. I mean, this win means a ton for that locker room, for those players. And I got to give credit, too, because we gave Aaron Glenn a lot of criticism, and rightfully so. The defense has been very bad this year. For those guys to step up, Kerby Joseph, in 3-4 games, he has 2 forced fumbles and 2 interceptions, by the way. Kerby Joseph, a guy that we mocked to the Lions even before the draft. Thank you for that. Great player. Aidan Hutchinson, I know people want to talk about the 2 tackles. Interception.
Let's do
Young
that.
players stepping up. And I think that you got to give credit to Aaron Glenn and the coaching staff for that. These guys building that confidence.
I don't want to forget somebody. I think there's a very certain somebody, a very special somebody, that over the last few weeks, for some reason, I've had to endure the constant conversation of Brad Holmes hasn't done enough with his draft picks.
Oh, yeah.
Brad Holmes, unacceptable. It is unacceptable. Okay, Penei Sewell, he fell into his lap. Derek Barnes was arguably one of the better players on the field yesterday.
You know what's funny, too?
Hutchinson.
When people talk about drafting starters, people forget about, what about solid contributors? Can Derek Barnes be that?
Everybody's going to be a Pro Bowler.
Absolutely.
Not everybody's going to be a Pro Bowler.
Absolutely.
You know what? To everybody that spent weeks focusing on Brad Holmes instead of coaching, enjoy. I'm sorry. You can suck it this morning, too, if I'm honest with you.
Right.
Aidan Hutchinson, he was there today.
He was in Aaron's face a lot.
Josh Pascal was there today, or excuse me, yesterday.
Yep.
Kerby Joseph. Oh, they should have taken Malik Willis in the 3rd round and take a flyer on a quarterback, Adham. Kerby Joseph, wow. And that's not a one-off performance now. That is 3 consecutive games. Kerby Joseph is starting to get into his own. The 2 interceptions, don't get me wrong, that is just unbelievable. Unrepeatable. That is just insane to me.
But he's been
Having
close.
said that, he's been there for 3 weeks now, consecutive weeks.
Yep.
Derek Barnes, a late pick last year, had his best career game. Boy, where's the talent issue? Yes, coaches, finally, get the credit you deserve for putting together a game plan, for getting your players up and ready for Sunday. Well done. I don't want to hear about Brad Holmes. I don't want to hear about him at all. None of it. Brad Holmes, again, showed his value to this football team. Not everybody's going to be all-pro. Not everybody's going to be a Pro Bowler. But you know what? Derek Barnes looked damn good. Kerby Joseph looked really damn good. Might be Defensive Player of the Week.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, the Packers shot themselves in the foot, right? Let's all be real here. That wasn't a Lions, quote, win where they went out and they won that game.
They
right?
took it from them, though. You got to give them credit because they had a chance to win late in the game.
But what I'm saying here is the Packers played arguably their worst game of the season.
Oh, no question.
And I don't think anybody expected that.
Yeah, no
Having
question.
Having said that, all credit to Detroit.
Yeah.
Credit to the young guys. Credit to Brad Holmes, the coaching staff. A good win. It's Monday. You're not 1-7.
11-6.
Shut the hell up.
11-6.
This is what we have to deal with now, but it's okay. It's worth it. I get to smoke.
You knew
I
it
don't
would
mind
happen,
dealing
though.
with it. But at the end of the day, James Mitchell. Wait. James Mitchell, you drafted an injured tight end, Brad.
2 touchdowns went to those tight ends yesterday.
James Mitchell, touchdown. What do you know?
And he had a really big 3rd down conversion, too.
What do you know? Again, Jared Goff played arguably his worst game, in my opinion. He was so bad. How many balls did he throw to Amon-Ra St. Brown where the kid was open?
Right.
He threw him at his knees. That was just – it was a bad football game. Don't get it twisted. It wasn't a fun game to watch. It wasn't a good game to watch. The Lions didn't play excellent, but they were just not worse for the first time than the team across from them. And they ended up getting a victory. Who would have thought?
Right.
Who would have thought? Great Sunday. It was a great weekend overall in sports. The Lions and the Wings won on the same day for the first time since 2017.
Michigan and Michigan State
That's
won.
a fun fact. Michigan State won. That's a fun fact.
Pistons got blown out Friday.
By the way, Michigan State. Can I get it, Illinois? To all the Illinois Fighting Illini out there. Do me a
They
favor.
thought they were the best team in the land.
Do me a favor. We're the best team in the Big Ten West.
Stuck my butthole. They're not anymore.
Saying you're the best team in the Big Ten West is like saying Fish is, I don't know.
Like
on it.
I'm the best player at my church
Anything
league
you want about
for
me, Adam,
basketball.
go for it. I'm
Basically.
into it.
Yeah,
That's
like
where
I'm
we're going with this.
What a weekend. I mean, really.
I'm gonna enjoy this hookah, man.
How do you
I
not?
am. How are all you doing this morning? I hope you're all doing well. Everybody over at woodwardsports.com, thank you for commenting in the Woodward Sports chat. Man, it is a good Sunday. It was an ugly game. The Lions didn't play their best game, but the defense were opportunistic. They took their chances. Every time Aaron Rodgers made a mistake, which he rarely does, they made him pay for it. That's the difference.
Right.
Typically, you go through a whole game, right? Your quarterback makes a few mistakes. You're usually not punished for it. Yesterday, the Lions punished Aaron for every mistake he made. The Packers are 3-6. There's nothing funnier to me than watching the Packers season basically go to hell.
And
after the Lions beat them.
You know what's funny? I was up late last night. I was prepping for the show, and I was watching the press conferences for Green Bay, just because I was curious, right? So I watched Matt LaFleur's press conference. I watched Aaron Rodgers' press conference. And you know how Packer fans are feeling right now?
Suicidal?
Yes. Fire everybody, trade Aaron.
I bet.
And
Look,
Aaron Rodgers, too, his quote at the end of his press conference, the reporter saying, how does it feel?
Lose that game
you just lost to the
team.
worst team in the NFL. And he's like, well, you can't lose against that team. That game against that team. It's going to hurt for a while.
It was awesome.
It should make Lions fans feel great inside. Even who cares about the draft pick? We'll get to that at a later point. Enjoy today.
I'm
really.
not
Enjoy today.
doing the 2-6 tank for the. I'm not doing any of that today. We're not doing it. It's Monday. The Lions won. That is a rarity under this regime. So we're gonna make the most of it. They have a long season ahead. You got Chicago later this week. There's a lot to talk about. Kerby Joseph stole the show.
Did you see Dan
Bears.
Campbell's press conference too?
Oh yeah.
Kick his feet up, have a beer.
I don't blame him for having a beer. When you lose 5 in a
I
row,
love
you're
it.
2-6 on the year.
Need a couple
you
beers.
need a beer, maybe a
Yeah.
couple. Absolutely. Let's take a quick pause. When we get back, let's talk about Jeff Okudah, the Jeff Okudah hype. I would love to. I want to address that next. Actually, you know what? F the rundown. We're going to talk about Jeffrey Okudah since all of you in the chat want to talk about him so badly.
I'd love to talk about him.
Let's talk
Free
about Jeff.
Iafrate.
But before we do, I got to tell you about where I get my haircut, and that's at Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime, no appointment necessary. Their awesome stylists will take care of you like they take care of me. So get to a Lady Jane's near you. Again, open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. No appointment necessary. It's wicked awesome.
He's going deep, right side. Oh, that is Edwards out there. He goes up in the air at the goal line.
Hey, it's Brandon Edwards here, wanting to welcome the sports marketing agency to Woodward Sports Network, to the family. Glad to have you guys. For the last decade, the sports marketing agency has literally leveraged athletes around issues such as mental health and substance abuse.
Glad that we can finally start trying to get the stigma off of mental health that's been there for all these years.
You don't have to go to the beach, man. You don't have to get your butt crack full of sand. You just need a little chili peppers, man, to get that glowing beach chili peppers tan. Woo!
With 26 locations in the Metro Detroit area and more coming, Chili Peppers Tanning is where you'll find the cleanest salons in the D. Join the Pepper Club for the best deals on unlimited tanning. Head to chilipepperstanning.com.
You just need a little chili peppers, man.
The only sports network in Detroit that starts with a W. You know, because we win. Woodward Sports, Detroit's winning sports network.
Special shout out to my guy, Michael Phillips. Whether you're looking to buy, sell, or invest, Michael Phillips is your guy who'll put you at the top of his priority list. Being in the game for over 23 years makes Michael the number one option for anybody. So if you have real estate needs, call Michael Phillips at 313-403-0011. That's 313-403-0011. Good morning, everybody.
By the way,
look who's happy today.
Side note,
yeah, what's up?
Packers pass rusher Rashad Gary
Yeah.
suffered a torn ACL on Sunday against
brutal.
the Lions.
Brutal. He's having a great
Just
year.
announced.
Oh, well, sucks to be a Packers fan. Moving on. Moving on. Moving on.
Let's talk about Jeff Okudah.
Live here at Feldman Chevrolet. Thank you to everybody joining us at woodwardsports.com. For all the latest news surrounding your favorite teams, check out woodwardsports.com. We're live there every single day for all of our shows, and you'll find opinion pieces, breaking news, whatever you need regarding your favorite sports team. You'll find it live over at woodwardsports.com. But let's start with Jeff Okudah. Jeff Okudah has been excellent in run support this year. I don't think anybody can not acknowledge it. He's been a very good run defender. But yesterday, he was burnt play after play after play, and I'm sorry, he can't cover my mother. He just can't. He just can't, and I don't want to spend 15 minutes on Jeff Okudah bashing him. I don't.
Right.
Lions won on Sunday. I would like to talk about other things, but since you guys want to talk about Jeff Okudah, let's talk about it. I think we can all acknowledge open field tackler, pretty damn good. Run support, very good. Pass coverage, awful. He went into Sunday 88th in the NFL in terms of pass coverage, according to PFF. Okay? For context, Will Harris was 33rd on that list. Tied for 33rd, excuse me.
Right.
After Sunday, he's going to drop 10, 15 spots. He didn't play well in pass coverage. So please, I would like to move on from Jeff Okudah. Okay? But you can't, none of you are going to sit here and convince me that that guy is a cover corner. He isn't. You want to move him to safety? You want him to gain 15 pounds and maybe go to linebacker? I don't know. You do whatever the hell you want with him. He can't cover anybody. That's evident.
Right.
That's evident, and he was exposed yesterday against the Packers. What do you know? But I again, Jeff, you say what you want to say. I don't want to spend too much time on Okudah, let alone the negative side of it. I just don't want to do it this morning.
No, and I'm not. Listen, we talked about Jeff yesterday in the pregame show as well. My opinion on Jeff is this. I don't have expectations for him to be a number one corner. I think for a guy who's coming off an Achilles injury and now, 8 games into his really first true season, yet he was missing half his rookie season, missed his sophomore season, and now he's playing coming off an Achilles injury. I don't have those expectations for him, so to see him get burnt yesterday, I'm not shocked. But to be honest, to give him credit, the first interception that was tipped off a helmet or tipped off a player, tipped off a helmet, whatever it was, Kerby Joseph came down with it. But Jeff Okudah almost did come down with it as well. So he almost made that play, and then he had the pass deflection on the 2-point conversion. So Jeff, and by the way, got to mention this as well, the fumble recovery that Deshaun Elliott almost got, and Jeff kind of jumped over him to get it, and they went out of bounds, and it wasn't Lions football. It wasn't the Lions football. If Jeff wouldn't have just touched it and Deshaun was able to get it, That's the Lions' ball. But again, for Jeff, I just had to throw that in. For Jeff, I'm not going to sit here and bash Jeff. I mean, he's not your number one corner. You clearly have to draft a corner and address that position this offseason. But for the people who think it's free Hefe or Hefe Island, I just think it's a false narrative. It really is. I'm rooting for him, though.
Let's move on and, again, talk about the bright spots then. Because that's really the conversation this morning. Malcolm Rodriguez, Kerby Joseph, Josh Pascal.
Derek Barnes,
Aidan Hutchinson. What do they all have in common? Anybody? Anybody know what they all have in common?
I do.
Go for it.
Brad Holmes.
Again, I will be as honest as I can with you right now. I have been selling you on Brad Holmes since maybe May, like very heavily, selling you Brad Holmes. Those first two drafts right now are looking pretty damn good. Okay? Yep. Yes, the Levi O situation sucks. That's not ideal. But Derek Barnes, 12 tackles, a sack. Kerby Joseph, 10 tackles, 3 pass deflections, 2 interceptions. Josh Pascal, 3 tackles. Malcolm Rodriguez, a little banged up yesterday.
Right.
Impact all season. I haven't seen a guy outside of maybe Levi who you were relying on week in and week out. These guys are all contributing. And again, I see a young football team. I don't see a good football team. The Lions aren't a good football team. They're 2-6 for a reason.
Right.
Jared Goff, under 50, almost 52%, 53% completion percentage yesterday. A QBR of 29. That was awful. They were averaging 3.8 yards on the ground. That was awful. DeAndre Swift, huge impact, 2 carries yesterday. Again, not sure what the hell's going on with DeAndre Swift.
They ran the ball, though, effectively.
Not really.
I mean,
3.8 yards a carry.
And you have Justin Jackson getting in there for 4 for 27. I mean, they
Jackson
were able to
ran the ball
supplement it.
effectively,
I mean, really.
Look, they were able
DeAndre
to win the football game.
Right.
And sometimes in the NFL, all right, we talk about this every Sunday. Go win a game you're not supposed to, right?
Yeah.
The narrative was going into the game, it was a get right for Green Bay. This was the game for Green Bay to right the ship, improve to 4-5, and really save their wild card hopes, right? Mm-hmm. That was the conversation. Lions buck the trend, and they go and pull out a win. And whether I, you, or anybody like it or not, they did it. I don't care how they did it.
Right.
When you win in the NFL, you are praised. When you lose, you are criticized. Welcome to the business. But I keep looking at that young core, Jeff. And I think to myself, they're building something there. In terms of roster, talent, the GM, he has an eye for it. You've got 5 picks, I believe, in the top 65 this year. You're in great shape. You're in great shape, Jeff.
And that's why, trading away T.J. Hutchinson, yes, you'd like a player back. And people don't get excited about draft picks. But when you have a guy like Brad Holmes who's able to identify talent really anywhere in the draft, I mean, he's proven that so far with Malcolm Rodriguez in the 6th, Amon-Ra in the 4th. It's a good thing. And I think moving forward, Lions fans should be excited for the future to have Brad Holmes clearing cap space up, freeing a lot of that money this offseason, having, multiple picks within the first, 60, 75 picks. It's hard not to be excited, right? And even if they win this, they won yesterday and now they don't have the number 1 pick anymore. I think they're picking 5 right now. It doesn't matter at this point for me. I mean, I said on the pregame show yesterday, I don't care if they lose every game for the rest of the season because selfishly I want the number 1 pick. The reality of it is, it shouldn't matter if you have the right people in place, like Brad Holmes picking those players. It shouldn't matter if you're picking 1, 4, 5, or 6.
What pick in the draft was Tua Tagovailoa?
He wasn't number 1 overall.
He was 5. What
was
Justin Herbert?
Yeah,
7.
Same with Justin Herbert.
Josh Allen, 7. Yeah. Mahomes, 10.
Lamar Jackson,
Watson, 12. Lamar, end of the first round. I don't remember the exact number.
It's like 32. I think.
Was it the last pick of the draft? They traded up for him. Regardless. Yeah. You got the right people in place, you'll find your quarterback.
Right.
And let's be honest here. Drafting a quarterback has to be one of the most difficult, if not the most difficult thing to do and identify in all of professional sports.
Yep.
Right, Connor McDavid comes out of the draft. That's a home run from day one, right? We all get it. Yeah, LeBron James, home run. Paolo Banchero right now, home run, right?
You don't typically have Peyton Mannings where it's the number 1 pick.
Very rarely an Andrew Luck, a Peyton Manning. They come in at 1 and they dominate a Joe Burrow, right? So stop talking to me about the pick right now. Save it. Save it. You guys are going to have from January, because you're not going to be in the playoffs. You'll have from January to March to talk about the draft, okay?
Or they'll go 11-6 and make the playoffs in January. Yeah, that's what all the people saying on the Twitters.
It's crazy that the NFC North is really a one-team race. I thought the Packers would be,
you know what?
at least in that conversation.
You want to talk about a team that won a game that was ugly. They didn't play well. Yeah. Minnesota.
They've been doing it all year, winning close games.
Is anybody going to criticize the 7-1 football team this morning? No, you're not. Why? They won. Had they lost to Washington? Oh, 6-2. Kirk Cousins didn't do enough. What's going on? This is how the NFL works, guys. Miami Dolphins barely pulled it out against Chicago. Anybody cares? No, they won. The Lions won. Every Lions fan, hear me out. Hear me out this morning. Do me a favor on this Monday morning.
Smoke along.
Smoke your lungs out and enjoy your Monday. Enjoy it. Just enjoy it. We've been doing this 5 straight weeks. Losses, loss. Fourth down, this, that, coach that, talent this. Oh, my God. So tired of it. Win football games. Way to go. Cool. We get to have a fun show this morning. I'm sure all of you have a pep in your step this morning going to work this morning, as you should. Good for you. Enjoy the hell out of your Monday. And you know what? If you won in your fantasy football leagues, hell yeah, power to you. Even better. You went 2 for 2 this weekend. If you were a Michigan or Michigan State fan, you went 3 for 3. Enjoy it.
What about if you're an Irish fan? Irish.
Life is too short. Now, you want to have the conversation with me about Jared Goff. Is he the future? We have all week. You have all season. I think we all agree he's a bridge, and he ain't playing all that well right now. So I think we all agree we're all on the same page. That is not the future quarterback of the Detroit Lions, especially at a $30 million price tag.
No one would disagree with that.
Cool. Dan Campbell, 5-19-1 as a head coach, I believe, in the NFL, 2-6 on the year. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to talk about Dan right now. I don't want to do it. They won the football game. That's it. They have a favorable road matchup against Chicago. Their one issue is Justin Fields, my goodness, set an NFL record yesterday for rushing yards by a quarterback. Broke Michael Vick's record. Unreal. So you'll get to the Chicago talk, your future quarterback, Bryce Young, whoever it is, C.J. Stroud, Will Levis, whoever you like. I don't care this morning. I don't. What I care about is that we get to all have a good morning. I get to smoke. There are 1,300 of you sitting in here live right now over at woodwardsports.com, enjoying yourselves this morning. Enjoy it. Just enjoy it. Enjoy the Monday. Let's take a quick pause. When we get back, let's go to college football. We'll take a break from
what a weekend.
The Lions for just 10 minutes. And then when we get back, it was ugly, it was gritty, and the Lions had no business winning at 8:45, but they did. We'll get to that and more at 8:45. Coming up next, Michigan handle business against Rutgers. Are they the best team? Not only in the Big Ten, but in the country. We'll get to that in just a bit. But before we do, Jeff, our good friends over at Cintron.
Cintron is the official energy drink of the Red Wings. Cintron has combined all 3 of their delicious flavors into a limited edition 6-pack sampler box. Try Cintron's great tasting cranberry, classic, and sugar-free, all in one pack. Pre-order your Cintron 6-pack sampler box today at cintronworld.com/Red Wings. Get energized with Cintron.
Hi, I'm John from Better Rate Mortgage, and to me, family is more than blood. That's why I have the biggest family in Metro Detroit. If you're looking to buy a house or refinance and need a loan, come get treated better than family by me and our entire team here at Better Rate Mortgage. We pride ourselves on giving you better advice, better service, and a better loan experience. That's why we are Better Rate. If you're looking for a new mortgage, come get treated like family. Actually, better with Better Rate Mortgage. Visit us at mybetterrate.com or call at 248-480-4467 today.
3 NBA championships. Detroit fans were there. 11 Stanley Cups. Detroit fans were there. 4 World Series wins. Detroit fans were there. And that one Lions playoff win in 1991. Yeah, Detroit fans were there. Woodward Sports, where the fans are.
get your customized approach to weight loss. Think of all the ways weight affects you personally, physically, emotionally. Custom Health Centers is blessed to have had over 20,000 success stories. Start losing weight today by calling Dr. Jason and Custom Health Centers at 844-789-THIN. That is 844-789-THIN. All right, Michigan. The Wolverines. Jim Harbaugh. It's not good enough. They don't throw the ball downfield. They're not putting up 70 points a game. It's not an air raid offense. They're 9-0. And they're arguably the best or the second best team in the country. I'd personally probably put them behind Georgia.
I'm 100% with you.
Michigan are the second best team in the country, in my opinion.
Yeah, right now, yes. They are.
Ohio State, for all they do well, continue to show their weaknesses at the line of scrimmage.
Yep.
They continue to struggle at the line of scrimmage, and it's costing them. And for all the talk about Michigan not having enough style points, Michigan not having enough. Oh, thank you so much. I get my own. I get my hookah personally.
Just walking in front of the shot.
Can you get rid of these, please? These two.
What?
Just like dump them and throw.
What
water
a diva! Why don't you do it yourself? Why don't you get up early?
YOLO.
Go out there and do it yourself.
Look at this. Look at the treatment I'm getting out here.
If you want to smoke, get all the stuff ready yourself.
Fish, how about you mind your business, buddy?
I am minding my business.
Well, I'm gonna sit up here this morning, and this is well deserved. All right.
You should still do it. Look at you spraying stuff all over the floor. You know who has to clean up? The janitors. You should have to clean it up. we should have you be a janitor for a day.
Stick smoked this a little too hard. I got it. It's all set.
It happens.
It's Victory Monday, baby.
I'm going to enjoy this, man. I'm going to enjoy this. Oh, goodness. Thank you to everybody joining us over at woodwardsports.com. Jeff, Michigan, in my opinion, the second best team in the country at the moment. I think they should be higher than Ohio State.
Yeah.
Another dominant performance. They dominated Penn State. And yesterday they again showed their defense might be better this year than it was last season. And that's saying something. Right. And let's not forget last year, you lost basically 3 first-rounders. Ajabo doesn't tear his Achilles. He's a first-round pick.
Yep.
Ajabo, Hutchinson, and Dax Hill, okay? And you replace it with this unbelievable front seven that is so deep that you don't get a break as an offense playing against Michigan. You got 7 guys rotating in and out on that front 4 that can get after you, and they're damn good players. Michigan have done a great job so far to start the year. The defense has been very good under Minter. That was my one question going into the season. Could Jesse Minter replicate what McDonald did last season without the stars?
Right.
And you know what? To Minter's credit, he has. It's Michigan's season to lose now. And we talk about Tennessee. And does a one-loss Tennessee get in against a one-loss Ohio State or Michigan? I'm going to make the case this morning they should not. That Bama win, LSU, that's a 2-loss Bama now. And they're going to move them back to 10, and then Bama will win out the rest of the games, and everyone will talk about Bama being a three-loss team if they lose to Georgia in the SEC title game. But, you know, in my opinion, even if right now the season ended today, and Ohio State, let's say, beat Michigan, it should be Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan, and TCU. I think a one-loss Big Ten team. I think the Big Ten right now has 2 of the 5 best teams in the country. How legit are Oregon, UCLA, USC? How legit are these teams? We're going to have this conversation.
Right.
But for me, I'm not going to punish Ohio State or Michigan for losing the final game of the year against arguably the second or third best team in the country, depending on what the rankings are going into that weekend. Because if you're not going to punish Tennessee, you can't punish Ohio State and Michigan, Jeff. So that's where I'm at this morning. I think this year, buck the trend, 2 Big Ten teams should get in, depending on the result. But I will be honest, if Ohio State loses to Michigan in Columbus, that's a tough sell for me. And because they lose at home. They've struggled in multiple games this year that Michigan won handily. If Ohio State loses, I think then you make the case Tennessee and another champion around the country. But if Michigan loses, I think Michigan earned that right so far this year, given how they've played.
No, and I'm with you. And I want to start by giving credit to Jesse Minter, too, because what we've seen out of Michigan the last couple weeks, and this is a credit, too, is their second-half adjustments. Like, even against Rutgers. They give up 17 in the first half. They shut them out the second half. Michigan State, they gave up that big play to Keon Coleman. Second half, shut them out as well. This defense for Michigan, man, and you talk about the depth they have. Mike Morris had a sack and a half yesterday, or on Saturday, excuse me. The defense looks deeper. J.J. McCarthy, although we talked a lot about the wide receivers Saturday on the college football show, it didn't matter. They completely dominated at the line of scrimmage, and that's something you could see Ohio State kind of, mirroring like last year. I mean, they completely dominated at the line of scrimmage last year against Ohio State, and seeing the depth they have in, yes, J.J. 151 yards, 2 touchdowns. If they can run the ball like that, like they did last year against Ohio State, I guess, if you look at Hassan Haskins had 5 rushing touchdowns last year. Honestly, this could be a recipe for success. I know we talked a lot about it on Saturday as well. Like Michigan, you got to open up the playbook. You got to be more dynamic. Honestly, Adam, I don't know if they do. I really don't. Because if you could dominate the line of scrimmage like they've been doing, because you saw Ohio State in those windy conditions, they couldn't throw the football. They had, averaged 4.3 yards per carry for Mayan Williams. C.J. Stroud ran for 80 yards as well. Michigan's going to dominate them at the line of scrimmage. So, honestly, this game, as we get closer to that Ohio State game, I think people's confidence for Michigan just keep on rising, and rightfully so.
And let's call it what it was. J.J. McCarthy had 3 passes, arguably, that were probably some of the best throws we've seen all season. They were just drops, unfortunately.
Right.
Having said that, look at Michigan. And Michigan, for all you Michigan fans out there, take a few moments just to reflect a little bit on how you got here. Prior to Don Brown being let go, you were going nowhere. Harbaugh was winning you 10 games, but boy, Don Brown was letting you down in the big games. And then you bring in Mike McDonald, young, fresh ideas, and the defense last year really gets you through the whole season. And then this season, it's doing it again, except the offense is playing more effectively. You're more dynamic on third down because of your quarterback.
And that offense translates. It can travel anywhere.
They dominate the line of scrimmage.
Right.
And now you have a defense since Don Brown has left. You have only lost 1 game. That has been to Georgia. Or 2 games, Georgia and Michigan State.
Right.
Michigan State was on the road, Georgia college football playoff game. Not bad if you ask me. This Michigan football team is heading in a direction that I haven't seen personally for a program since Clemson. Prior to the national titles, prior to all this, Dabo was winning the 8, 9, 10 games a year, could never get over the hump, and then it was Deshaun Watson, and then it was Trevor Lawrence.
Right.
Now, I'm not saying J.J. McCarthy is that for you, but you have a formula of success that should get you through the rest of the season, should allow you to go to Columbus and at least compete with Ohio State. And again, a loss in Columbus to an undefeated Ohio State, I would argue, is arguably the best or the second best loss in the country. So how are you going to punish Michigan for that? Michigan are in a great spot. The table is theirs to run. I have nothing but good things to say about Jim Harbaugh in Michigan this morning, Jeff.
No, I'm with you too. As much as you want to criticize, because I want to see the receivers get involved this week. I know Donovan Edwards led them in receiving, but the bigger story, and as he just clouds me up real quick, shout to Adam, by the way. The bigger story is what they've been able to do at the line of scrimmage. I think that's going to travel. Even going and playing in Columbus, it's a tough place to play, and I can't wait till the line comes out officially because I do believe Ohio State will still be slightly favored. It doesn't matter. Like, if you could bully Ohio State like Northwestern was able to do for a point of time in that game, in those windy conditions, what Michigan can do offensively and defensively, that will travel. And this defense for the secondary specifically for Michigan, too, looks even better. So a lot to look forward to for Michigan fans. And right now, there ain't no question. Clemson losing, Alabama losing. Michigan, to me, and I'm with you, is the second best team right now in the country. Ohio State, they're probably teetering between 2 or 3. A lot of games left, but I think right now it's really Michigan and Georgia. And Ohio State's right behind them until further notice. We'll see at the end of the year when they play Ohio State, but until then, Georgia, I think, still is the best team in college football, but Michigan's trending in that direction with these big wins. I know it's Rutgers, but the way they won, that's important too. Because Clemson got blown out by Notre Dame. Oof.
Go Irish.
And it was because of you, Fish, because you wore the wardrobe on Friday too. You wore the Notre Dame gear.
I was told Clemson were better than Michigan because they beat a bunch of scrubs.
No. Well, Notre Dame.
I thought Michigan's red zone offense wasn't good enough to be in the top 4. That's what I was told. I was told that Michigan are the 5th best team in the country. Way to go, committee. Way to go. 10 out of 10. You got that one right.
I mean, Notre Dame owns Clemson at home. So, I mean, Clemson got what they deserved.
Buddy,
By
Notre
the way,
Dame,
we need
Notre
a
Dame
for
own
Michigan
everybody.
fans.
Notre Dame own everybody at home at night. That was a trap game.
Yeah.
We called it on the show on Saturday. That was obvious. Clemson had not played really good. I could argue only Georgia and maybe Ohio State, but I wouldn't. Only Georgia this season has played better than Michigan. Only Georgia.
Michigan fans either thank Notre Dame and LSU for beating
Michigan
those
fans don't have to thank anybody but themselves. You know why, buddy? Because they're 9-0. They're winning all their football games, and their coach continues to do what nobody wants to give him credit for. Win.
Well, yeah, but if they lose to Ohio State and Alabama wins the SEC championship game, bye, Michigan. Because they're not getting
We got 3 minutes to kill. Can we have some fun? You guys want to have some fun this morning?
Yeah.
Let's have some fun.
I have fun every day.
Can we throw a poll in the chat?
Oh, boy.
Alex, don't give me that. Don't give me that face. All right? Throw a poll in the chat. Did the Lions make a mistake at number 2 overall?
Oh.
Yes or no?
Doing this.
A yes or no answer. Did they make a mistake? Because after what I watched last night, the running back himself start for the Tennessee Titans, I am having second doubts about Aidan Hutchinson. Malik Willis should have been the number 2 overall pick for the Detroit Lions. Malik Willis, unbelievable. Went on the road, completed 5 passes.
Yeah.
Oh, my God, what
they
a
were
quarterback.
They were running the ball on like 3rd and short.
God, they
did not.
Malik Willis should have been the number 2 overall pick. I'm mad to this day.
As you should
Unbelievable,
be.
Unacceptable. Malik Willis, clearly the best prospect to come out since John Elway. Damn it, the Lions should have taken him. Damn it, the Lions should have taken him. All the months we wasted. Malik Willis to the Detroit Lions. Number 2 overall. They should take a flyer on him. You don't take flyers at number 2 overall. You don't take flyers at number 2 overall.
Or projects.
Congratulations, right. Mike Vrabel. Can't even get Malik Willis to complete over 30% of his passes.
He doesn't trust him. I mean, rightfully so.
I mean,
he's a project right now.
He's beyond a project. He sucks. He's a bum.
Okay.
He's a bum. If Ryan Tannehill isn't injured, he doesn't see the field.
No.
And everybody is still hopeful. No. Oh, my God, Malik Willis. One day he's going to be the best quarterback in the whole world. The whole wide world. The whole world.
You were told.
I was
like
told.
Neil says.
Malik
I was
Willis.
told.
Malik Willis, number 2 overall.
I was
Obviously,
told.
guys, I'm giving you a lot of grief to all you Malik Willis fans. Yes, there are a few of them on the network. You know who you are. I'm not going to call you out by name. The chat can figure that out. But I hope you all enjoyed Sunday Night Football and Malik Willis putting on arguably the greatest show performance I've ever seen on Sunday Night Football. 5 of 16. On 5 of 18, I believe, actually. It was spectacular. He's the next John Elway. And the Lions whiffed big at number 2 overall, getting a guy who only got an interception against Aaron Rodgers compared to the guy who on Sunday Night Football really just filled up the stat sheet.
Even beyond that, too, Pascal and Kerby Joseph, I mean, people who had the nerve to say early in the season that, you take Pascal, you take Kerby Joseph, why not take a Malik Willis? So I want to know what those people are saying right now after seeing those guys kind of come into their own. Because it's a ridiculous conversation. It's funny that we even had these conversations 4 games into the season.
You know what they're saying?
What are they saying?
Record.
Nothing.
I know.
No, they're pointing at the record.
Fish, shut the
I know.
Fish, it's Monday. Notre Dame won.
Monday.
All right, I'm trying to be nice to you, okay?
Okay.
Shut up. Let me enjoy this, all right? I've only got to smoking this on a winning occasion once.
I let you enjoy it.
All right, let me enjoy.
Okay.
Let's take a quick break. When we get back, we'll come back to the Lions. You guys have fun with that chat in the poll. But before we go, Jeff, our good friends over at Guardian Alarm.
Well, you saw that performance by the Detroit Lions on Sunday. If you want to have that type of defense guarding your home, then call Guardian Alarm. Because winter is here, you're spending more time inside. So call 1-800-STAY-OUT today, and you can rest easy knowing you have 24/7 protection. That's 1-800-STAY-OUT. Let them know your friends at Woodward Sports
Fish, stay out.
Stay out.
Introducing the Planet Fitness Guide to getting that post-workout glow. Step 1, what's your why? More epic energy? Better sleep? Blow off steam? Step 2, join Planet Fitness for just $10 a month and get moving in our clean and spacious clubs. Step 3, bask in that post-workout glow. Join Planet Fitness today for just $10 a month.
Join today at any of the 50-plus Detroit area locations.
It's a great day to get some Centron in your life. Okay. There it is. Centron, here we go. Gotta grab the cranberry. Oh wait, it's 2 for $4. Gotta double up with the classic as well. Centron World, baby. Centron, available at select Krogers, and if you wanna know how, go to @CentronWorld.com. You get dope like me. You know what? Why wait? Great taste, guaranteed.
We are the network for Detroit by Detroiters. Welcome to the Woodward Sports Network.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Morning Woodward Show, live at Feldman Chevrolet out in Novi. Stop by. Inventory's full. They got great deals going on. To everybody over at woodwardsports.com, not only do you get to watch the live streams, check out our latest articles and more, right? Latest news, breaking news, you name it on your favorite sports teams.
Don't forget,
we've got it.
Merchandise, too.
Merchandise as well. Can't complain about that. Here's where we're at, Jeff. It was an ugly game. It was, to quote Dan Campbell, gritty, right? And the Lions really had no business winning a game where they played the way they did offensively.
Right.
And really defensively to an extent, but they made the plays when they had to in the red zone, but they did. And you know what? You need to win football games like that. You think Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs are happy about last night? A backup quarterback, a rookie, third-round, fourth-round quarterback who only attempted 18 passes, only completed 5, and you won in overtime against them? You think Mahomes, Reed, and the team are going back and saying, man, that was a great performance? No, they're not. But you know what? Adversity. They won. They stuck through it. You think the Chargers are happy with their performance?
The Bucs against the Rams took a 60-yard drive to win it. Right.
So at the end of the day, your job is to find ways to win football games. The Lions did exactly that.
Yeah.
There's nothing you can tell me this morning that is going to change my mind. You want to get into the little detail of 0 for 2 on 4th down. Didn't take picks,
Didn't take 3 in the beginning of the game.
In the beginning of the game. Didn't do all da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Okay, great.
Right.
Good for you. You can do that this morning. I don't care. They did what they were supposed to do. Win a game you're not supposed to, because they haven't done that in a long time. They haven't done it really since Arizona last year.
Right.
Second win of the season. No, this doesn't mean they're going to win 5 of the next 7. And they're going to be a 7-8, 7-9 football team. No. But what it means is, you know what, for this Monday, collectively, we can all just sit back and say, you know what? I'm good. I'm good this morning. I get to talk about Kerby Joseph being an absolute stud for the 3rd consecutive week. Arguably the defensive player of the week in the NFL. You get to talk about Aidan Hutchinson delivering and really, by the way, doesn't get enough credit for the interception. Yes, it was a poor throw.
It's a great read, too.
But Bakhtiari disengaged. Yeah. And Aidan Hutchinson had the wherewithal to understand he's eligible. Let me drop back. I'm not getting to Aaron. He's going to get rid of it soon. He dropped back and it fell right into his lap. Yep. Good play by Aidan. You get to talk about players like, Derek Barnes, his best game of his Lions career. And it's a short one.
Yeah,
He's a rookie
question.
last year.
No question. What about Aaron Rodgers?
That's the conversation you get to have this morning, on top of making Aaron Rodgers go home and cry like a bitch.
Oh, he was frustrated. And what about Aaron Rodgers leading the Packers in rushing? I think that's a bigger storyline to me, because coming into the game, that was one of the weaknesses for the Detroit Lions.
He looked like Michael Vick. Hey, look, some of those 3rd down conversions, that 3rd and 18, I believe it was. That was unacceptable.
No, it was.
You want to complain about a potential holding call, that's fine. The refs were not ideal for either side of the ball.
But you hold A.J. Dillon to 3 yards per carry,
yes.
And Aaron Jones to 2.8 yards per carry.
Aaron Jones did get knocked in that game, I believe, correct? He did get hurt.
Yeah,
yes, he did. But beyond the point, look, again,
they were
injuries happen.
Yeah, they couldn't run the ball. Besides Aaron.
That is the most satisfying win the Lions could have imagined, ending essentially the Green Bay Packers season, because they're not winning 10 in a row. 7 in a row.
Right.
And they're not winning 6 of the next 7. So their playoff aspirations are basically done. You're going to have to look in the mirror and say, Matt LaFleur, I'm not sure what the deal is, buddy, because you know what? You won 13 games your first 3 years each year, and you lose Devontae Adams and somehow you're this bad? Now, a lot of it's quarterback play. Sure, you can come up with any excuse, but you have to look at Matt LaFleur now and say, hey, man, oh, okay, you were the best team in football, one of the best teams for the last 3 years. Why the drop-off? Why such a significant drop-off? I had them at 10-7 this year. I could have believed 9-8. They're not even going to get to that. That is concerning to me. But that's good. We're not talking about the Packers. We don't have to talk about them, thank God. Talk about a quarterback you're paying $50 million to. It's a great situation. It really is.
And it's funny looking at the trade deadline, how many receivers they went after as well. DJ Moore, Chase Claypool. They even reached out to the Broncos about Jerry Jeudy. Like, it kind of tells you where the Packers are right now as an offense. I mean, you could talk about the play calling. It's the execution. And one thing that Devontae Adams helped out with was even if the execution wasn't perfect, you still had Devontae Adams. And they don't have that player. They have Allen Lazard, and Romeo Doubs went out very early. So you even had Big Dog getting involved early, Mercedes. So a lot of troubles over there with the Packers. I know defensively they played well, but offensively they just can't seem to figure it out. Now on a 5-game losing streak. So
you know what else we should
it's
talk
a big
about
win for the
morning?
Lions.
You know what else we should talk about this morning? Talk about adversity. All right, overcoming difficult situations, a difficult patch. Aaron Glenn has not been hot since week 2. It's been pretty rough.
Mm-hmm.
He answered the bell with preparation. You want to talk about Ben Johnson in the offense. Look, it was pathetic. The offense wasn't good at all. Don't get it twisted. They scored in the second half, and that was the difference. The touchdown they got in the second half was the difference in the game.
Right.
Had they gotten shut out, they would have lost. They ended that 3 consecutive game streak of not scoring in the second half, and what do you know? They won because of it. Again, it wasn't the most brilliant performance. It wasn't a performance where you'll remember this win for ages. No, it didn't propel you into the wild card. No, it didn't. None of that. But it sure as hell is better than talking about a 1-7 football team that couldn't score in the second half again, that let down their defense, that forced 3 turnovers. Again, you got to walk away and say, good job, Detroit. Good job. And if you have too much of an ego to admit that, I can't help you this morning. I really can't. But Kerby Joseph, are you kidding me? 10 tackles, 2 interceptions, 3 pass deflections.
It was a monster.
He saved a touchdown, too. I know it was a little underthrown by Aaron Rodgers.
But you're right, he saved it.
But he was step for step with the receiver.
Mm-hmm.
And the only way he was going to be beaten was by the most perfect ball that could have been thrown.
Right.
And it was still a good ball. And he made an athletic move to bat it down, save 7 from getting on the board. And again, you guys want to be nitpicking, you want to get frustrated, you want to talk about things that didn't go well. Aaron Rodgers, not the best game. Stick? Hey, Stick? That thing flew off. Oh, God. All right, we're back. Sorry about that. For those of you that can't see, we have like these wind flags that are set up outside, and one of them, the wind is very strong today, and one is just completely fell off. Holy hell. God bless Stick. Look at him, champ. Unreal.
He's the real MVP.
Oh, Flannel Sam's going to get in trouble for that one. All right, let's move on. When we get back, top of the hour, I want to talk to the people, all right? We're not going to open up the phone lines, all right? But what we are going to do is have an honest conversation in the chat. What did Sunday mean for your outlook for the rest of the year? Now, we talked 2 weeks ago, before they lost last week. If Dan could win 2 of the next 3 games, it would probably settle things down a little bit. Before Miami, he's won 1 of 2. On the road to Chicago, can you go get your first road win? Right, we're going to talk about narratives. What can Dan Campbell do to turn your, I would say, to turn your switch or give you some sort of hope down the stretch? You don't want to just string together a bunch of meaningless wins, don't get me wrong, but you also don't want to start over. You would love nothing more than Dan to go out and win 3 of the next 4, right?
Right.
You would love him to do that.
Especially get a win on the road.
You would love it. And you win 3 of the next 4 and you're suddenly a 5-7 football team, you don't want to have to fire your head coach in year 2. You don't want to have to completely move on and flip it all over again and start over. Do I think he's the guy? No, I don't. But I want to hear from you guys. Talk to me about your coach and really talk to me about your young talent. Respond in the Woodward Sports chat. Leave your comments. Drop them. Me and Jeff will acknowledge them. Your thoughts on the game. Your thoughts on the young core that, yes, Brad Holmes has drafted. And your thoughts on the game. But before we go, Jeff, could you tell everybody at home about our good friends over at Big Boy?
For a limited time only, all new burgers and loaded fries are at Big Boy. It's not just the Slim Jim, it's the Big Jim, the chili cheese burger, as well as the bacon blue. But how about upgrading those fries? Chili cheese fries, baked potato fries, nacho fries. Satisfy those taste buds at Big Boy.
Fellas, let's be honest. We like things to be easy. We like simple stuff, like sports 7 days a week. We like things uncomplicated, like Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Sign in, sit down, watch your favorite team play. And before you know it, your hair will be game ready. Open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. It's wicked awesome.
We don't like to brag that we are the toughest sports network in Detroit, but we do have a guy named Darren McCarty on our side.
Lemieux and McCarty, who've had a good knockdown drag up. There they go, right on the whistle. Oh, they were talking to one another.
Woodward Sports.
Jeff Iafrate here. Let me tell you about our friends at Chili Peppers Tanning, because it's where you'll find all the cleanest salons in the D with spotless, sanitized rooms and trained and certified tanning professionals. Join the Pepper Club for all the best deals. They'll beat all competitors by $5. ChiliPeppersTanning.com. Hottest bulbs, hottest deals, darkest tans, your vitamin D headquarters, 27 locations, and more on the way.
Chili Peppers Tan?
All right, so I've already alluded to this multiple times throughout the show now, right? And this is how I'll set it up. You won a game you were not supposed to. You had no business winning it because of how poorly you did play, especially offensively.
Offensively, yes.
Right? Defensively, you let Aaron Rodgers really go up and down the field almost every drive. You only forced one punt. Let's keep that in mind. The defense is not fixed. What you saw on Sunday, though, was your rookies step up and make big plays. 3 interceptions between 2 rookies, Aidan, Hutchinson, and Kerby Joseph.
Right. But what they did in the run, I mean, the defense played pretty well. I get what you're saying.
Yes,
but
they moved the ball down the field at
will. But 50% completion
Jeff
percentage,
Okudah,
and they can't run the ball. I mean, that's a pretty good day.
I do agree. But the point is, that was a game that, again, probably lose that game if you replay it. I doubt Aaron throws another 3
especially
picks,
late
right?
in the game.
But
he had a chance to win the game there.
You did your job.
Right.
You did your
made
job.
Plays. Made one more play.
Yes.
One more play than the Green Bay Packers.
And at the end of the day, here's where I'm at. To all of you in the Woodward Sports chat, your takeaways on your young core. And let's identify what this young core is, right? St. Brown had 9 targets, but only 4 catches yesterday, a lot of which because the balls were in the dirt. Not really his fault.
Mm-hmm.
Aidan Hutchinson, phenomenal. Kerby Joseph, unreal. Derek Barnes, look, not a Pro Bowler, not your starting 1A linebacker, but he can contribute, and he has contributed since last year.
Mm-hmm.
And you saw his, quote, breakout performance against Green Bay on Sunday. So you have all these players. Now you tell me, what is next? What's the next step here? Is it, all right, we're going to focus on the draft. Here's what you need to do. Draft a franchise quarterback, draft this, draft that, yada, yada, yada. Or at 2-6 in this moment, you have an opportunity to go get your first road win. You have an opportunity over the next 4 or 5 weeks to really change the narrative on your head coach. And it's going to take a lot. It's going to take 3 or 4 or 4 or 5 to really get the narrative pushing in Dan Campbell's direction. But at least for today, not a turd, even though they were 0 for 2 on 4th down, questionable decision-making, right? You don't have to do this repetitive, same-old conversation every Monday because they lost. And I'm all for it. Am I sold on him? No, I'm not. Don't get me wrong. But I'm sold on the young talent they have. I really am. Kerby Joseph belongs in the NFL. Derek Barnes has a role in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
Aidan Hutchinson belongs. He will deliver on that pick. I have a ton of confidence in
Even
him.
in the game, I know it doesn't show up in the stat sheet, but he got a lot of pressures.
How many holding calls did they miss? And you know what? Let's talk about officiating for the moment. Delay a game.
Yeah.
There should have been 4 or 5 of them. All right, let's just call it what it is.
And that's been the Packers all year. I've watched a lot of Packers games. Like
and your
Aaron
job
Rodgers,
as a ref, though, to be fair, though.
Snaps it on 0.
To be fair for the referees.
Right.
You are told when you see the clock at 0, so I'm looking this way. When you see the clock is at 0, you basically give a 1-second count and look at the ball. If the ball is snapped or in the process of being snapped, you let it go. And no, to everybody saying we need a buzzer where when the clock hits 0, everything stops. No, please, you're going to slow down the game. Stop. The refs needed to do a better job, yes, in executing delay of game penalties. 100% I do agree. But let's understand something. I'm looking at the clock. It hits 0. I'm looking at the center. Is he about to snap it? If he is, I'm letting it go.
Right.
That's how it works. Delay of games are meant for teams that are still talking, quarterbacks giving direction, and the clock is hitting 0, and he's like clapping his hands, but the ball's not moving. That's a delay of game. So I just want us to be very conscious of that. I'm not in favor of a rule change, number 1. But number 2, I think we all agree the refs didn't have their best game. They left 3 or 4, maybe even 5 delay of games on the field.
Yeah, they did. There's no question. I don't think there's really a solution for it unless the NFL implements something like like the NBA has with like a shot clock where a horn sounds when it hits 0. But even then, it's probably too much at that point. I think overall, though, to talk about what you mentioned about the player development, because we talked about this yesterday in the pregame show. That's the thing I want to see moving forward. Yes, you want to see Dan Campbell, Aaron Glenn, Ben Johnson improve as coaches, but for me, it's about the players as well, and I got everything I wanted for. Not only did all of Brad Holmes' picks or acquisitions play well, but you saw guys step up and play well for the entirety of the game, and that's the positive. I mean, even offensively, too, Amon-Ra St. Brown made plays. I know they left a lot of yards out there, but on defense, that's what we wanted to see. I mean, we didn't talk about Derek Barnes yesterday. He had his best game of his career. Like, that's Jeff Okudah. I know Gabe plays up, but at the same time had the forced fumble, almost ended up going out of bounds. But guys stepped up at him, and that's what you want to see. Player development is all I'm concerned about moving forward, and I got a good taste of that yesterday against the Packers.
Let me ask you this. Did Jeff Okudah recover that fumble, in your opinion?
No, Deshaun Elliott should have just let him recover it. But
no. When he recovered it,
no.
Was he out of bounds?
Yeah, he was out of bounds, yeah.
Okay, so we agree.
Yeah.
Guys, look, again, you won the game. Amazing.
Yeah.
Cool. Let's not beat around the bush here. Jeff Okudah did not recover that fumble. He did not have clear possession in bounds.
Right.
His body
forced
was
it, but he
when
didn't
he
recover
did,
it.
he was out of bounds. Again, a bad break, unlucky, whatever you want to call it. At the end of the day, your defense stepped up and forced Aaron Rodgers and the Packers to turn it over on downs, and you won the game. So that's the reality. Let's not make it more than what it is. Apparently, there was a 1-second delay or difference between the Fox clock and the game clock at Ford Field. I'm not sure if that's true. If that is, that explains a lot of the delay of game. It's at 0, but it's not really. Maybe that is. Maybe. I can't confirm. I wasn't at Ford Field.
Right.
But that's something we'll probably research and check out. Fish, if you don't mind, check and make sure that's a real, legit fact. Whether or not Fox had play clock issues. Adam, the refs consistently have had their worst games when they get the Lions games. I don't buy that. I don't. Come on. Even yesterday, you want to talk about a team that was undisciplined? The Lions weren't a disciplined team.
No.
How many holding calls? How many false starts?
And finished with one less penalty than the Packers.
That wasn't ideal.
And I think Lions fans understand it because usually they can't overcome those penalties, right? So you get those penalties and you ultimately lose games. Yes, you're going to look at the refs, but you see, calls made all around the NFL when you're watching games, but teams are able to overcome them, and that's just something the Lions haven't been able to do. So it definitely burns a little more.
Well, I think the biggest takeaway you could probably have is Aaron Rodgers, the Lions likely sent him into retirement.
No, they didn't.
Yes,
he's not retiring.
100% they did.
No, he is not.
He's going to retire.
He was frustrated. Say he's retiring after the end of the season.
He was very frustrated. I mean, you saw him on the sidelines throwing his helmet, screaming, whether it was at himself or at his teammates, whatever it was. They frustrated Aaron Rodgers. I mean, they really did.
But look,
I don't think he's retiring.
For all the defense did, they did give up 400 yards. They bent but didn't break. That was it. Right. Rodgers was throwing the ball up and down the field, man. That is a fact. Aaron. Jeff Okudah was getting burnt. That's a fact. But your defense made the plays when they had to. And that is something you haven't seen really from this Detroit Lions defense. Maybe since, I would say, Arizona last year. Maybe even
They almost had it against the Cowboys until they gave up all those points in the fourth quarter after the offense turned the ball over.
Well, it doesn't help when your offense continues to turn the ball over. And that's another thing, you know what, that we're going to talk about right now.
And that was on the road, too.
Jared Goff is throwing an interception every single game.
Yeah, he's good for a turnover.
And I don't know what Ben needs to say. Dan, the quarterback's coach, Mark Brunell, get in his ear. Dude, stop throwing interceptions. Stop turning the ball over. The Lions are not the most talented team in the NFL where they can overcome those turnovers.
No.
It just so happened that on Sunday, you were better than the Packers. It just so happened that Aaron Rodgers, for the 5th time only in his career, threw 3 interceptions. The first since 2017.
First ever against the Lions.
So, again, a guy that's won 80% of his games against the Lions. A guy that has like a 7-1 touchdown interception ratio against the Lions. Like, for that to happen, excellent. And you wanted to see it. You wanted to see it so bad. You wanted to see Packers fans just cry, be miserable. We lost to the Lions. Aaron Rodgers after the game, my favorite quote. You know, man, you just can't play that way and lose to that team. Yeah, bro, you lost to a really bad football team. And I hope you enjoy retirement. I really do. I really do. Oh, God, I enjoyed the hell out of it. I'm going to just keep smoking and enjoy my day. I hope you're all having a great time in the chat right now.
And if you want to have even more fun, go check out the Green Bay press conferences because, man, media, fans, they're coming hot. They're coming down hard on the Packers. It's crazy, too. Packers are...
Well, they deserve it. They're 3-6.
No, I get that, but it's funny because Matt LaFleur could have back-to-back 13-win seasons, be 3-6, and they want them gone.
Welcome to the business. Yes
Welcome
or no?
to being a Packer fan.
Yes or no? Yes or no?
Because if he was the Lions coach, there would be none of that.
No, I'm sorry. Expectations matter. Are the Green Bay Packers underachieving?
Yes.
Slightly.
No, there's no slightly. Yes,
Yeah,
they're
no, slightly.
underachieving.
They are underachieving significantly. They're 3 games under 500.
Look at that offense before the year. This isn't a...
They were a 9-10 win team.
They're not a contender. They were never a
9-10 win
contender.
team.
Right. They finished with 6.
They are underachieving.
Right.
And that's why Matt LaFleur is getting all the pressure he's getting. The defense, look, to their credit, did do a good enough job. A ton of injuries during the game. It happens. But at the end of the day, your quarterback, your franchise quarterback, who you paid $50 million to,
and failed to
cost
get him
you that football game.
And failed to get him weapons.
That wasn't a coaching job. That wasn't poor defense. That wasn't poor execution on offense. That was Aaron Rodgers throwing 3 ducks that got intercepted. And he made 3 mistakes he usually makes in 2-3 seasons. Combined, he made them in 1 game. It was a historic effort by the Lions defense, if you ask me.
Yeah, no question. And the first game really this year, you could say they played from the first quarter to the end of the fourth quarter. Like, this defense played an entirety of the game. They played a good game, and that's something you haven't seen. You've seen, especially late in the fourth quarter, them kind of break down. You know, I could bring up Minnesota. They played well against Minnesota, but gave up the K.J. Osborne touchdown. Dallas, after the turnovers, they ended up finishing with 24 points when you held them to 10 points in the fourth quarter. The defense consistently made plays. And for having so many rookies or second-year players on your defense, I know you have some vets. Alex Anzalone actually didn't have that bad of a game. But for them to play to the very end, and just how it ended, too. Rodgers has a chance to win the game, driving down the field. Lions defense steps up. That's what you want to see, and I think it was a positive thing for Aaron Glenn, for Dan Campbell. I know Ben Johnson, he always starts off really well. I mean, the offense moves the ball really early in the game, and as the game goes on, it just seems like they kind of run out of gas, and that's something that the offense is going to have to work on. But defensively, no question, this is a day you give credit to Aaron Glenn and even Dan Campbell to a certain extent because those guys stepped up and give credit where it's due. I mean, I criticized Dan, and I know a lot of Lions fans did, for keeping your buddy in Aaron Glenn, only firing Aubrey Pleasant, and I do feel like he was partially the scapegoat, but at the same time, you kept Aaron Glenn. You gave him a chance to rewrite his own narrative, and he responded. We'll see how it continues for the rest of the season, but no doubt. I mean, he got those guys were ready to play. They were all on the same page Sunday again at Ford Field. I mean, there's no question.
The game went their way. They played the game they had to play to win, although offensively it was really pathetic. DeAndre Swift, what's the game plan here? How does he get right? What, another 2 carries in Chicago on the road? That's going to help your team next week? Chicago clearly have figured it out on offense. Justin Fields, my goodness. Good luck containing him. You're gonna have a matchup this weekend. It's gonna be difficult. But where is your X factor player? He's hurt. He gives you 2 carries, a few catches out of the backfield. I'm not liking where this DeAndre Swift situation is trending. And if anything, again, you have 6 picks in total through rounds 1 and 3. You're going to draft a running back. I can guarantee you that. Yeah. I guarantee you are going to draft a quarterback. That is where this team is heading. And again, do you want to have a conversation right now about, well, it's time to tank and to get the number 1 pick? I'm not doing that today. I'm just not. We're not doing it. We're not doing that show at all. So you guys have your conversations, but I agree with Mike in the chat. Running back and quarterback are in need.
I think I
agree. Those are the 2 must-haves. And you talk about Brad Holmes, I can give him a lot of credit for Panay, Amon-Ra, Derek Barnes yesterday. Wow, Kerby Joseph,
McNeil,
Josh Pascal, Aidan Hutchinson. Right? It's really picking up with Brad. But what is the one decision every GM is judged on?
2. But he hasn't made the other one yet. But
I'm not going to bring up the head coach right now.
Quarterback,
yes,
you're right.
I agree.
Quarterback.
Yep. Brad Holmes will draft a quarterback this season, whether it's with that top pick or the Rams pick, which could be a top pick at the moment given how the Rams are playing.
Yeah, it's another win for Lions fans. Another win for Lions fans.
Let's give a special smoke and shout out to Matthew Stafford and the Rams.
Yeah, they lost yesterday. Pretty bad loss.
2 top 10 picks, baby.
That smoke is for you guys. Thank you. 3-5. I hope you finish the year 5-12. I really do. I hope you finish 6-11, 7-10.
Okay, that's
Keep
reasonable.
Losing.
7-10 reasonable.
This Matthew Stafford trade, Fish, I promise you. Depending on who depending on who Brad Holmes drafts, could go down in NFL history as one of the most even trades of all time. And I'll tell you why. The Rams wanted a Super Bowl. They gave up 2 first-round picks and Jared Goff for Stafford.
Yeah.
They got their Super Bowl. They won, quote, check the box, they won the trade. The Lions wanted draft capital. They got 2 first-round picks from it. One of them, Jameson Williams. We'll see what he turns out to be. If he's a Pro Bowl-type wide receiver, that's good.
Yeah.
And then the second pick, is that in the top 12, top 15 this year? Who does that player turn into? Is that your quarterback? And if you hit on that pick, I could argue the Rams-Lions trade could go down in NFL history as one of the most fair deals to ever happen where both teams felt like they won. I'm all for it. Jeff. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I think that's a great point, too. And on top of that, the Rams this year, they won their Super Bowl, but keep sucking, please. I mean, for Lions fans to have a pick in the top 5 and another pick, let's say, in the top 15, the flexibility Brad's going to have, too. You could trade back up into the first in the top 10, get a player you like, or you stay there at 15 or 12, wherever they pick, and you could possibly get one of the better defensive players. You can get a Ringo out of Georgia, a great corner. So, to your point, you're going to walk out potentially with 4 starters, solid starters, guys that could be Pro Bowlers in 2 drafts, and that's only going to help this rebuild with plenty of money to spend, too. We haven't even gotten to that point.
Let me help out Nenson in the chat here. The best trade of all time was the Herschel Walker trade. Yes, but stop. I'm not saying the best trade of all time. The most fair trade of all time, where both parties won at a significant level.
Yeah, I don't think anybody was robbed. It was fair.
The Rams got their Super Bowl.
Yes.
And it looks like the Lions have not only acquired the draft capital they wanted, they are in line to draft a quarterback potentially with that pick or upgrade their defense. That is a win along with the Jameson Williams pick, depending on how he performs.
Even trading Hutchinson to a certain extent. I know people, at least nationally thought it was a terrible trade. Locally, we understand what Hutchinson. Look at this offense with and without Hutchinson. Is not really much of a difference. Whether he plays, they'll have games where they play really well, and when he's not really playing well, sometimes they don't play well. So, again, it's either way with Hawk. I thought James Mitchell, another guy, 5th-round pick, stepped up, was able to score, catch a touchdown. Zylstra caught a touchdown. They were able to, by group effort, kind of supplement for what TJ left behind. Now, TJ's upside is much higher than those guys, but I love how at least that unit responded with now the departure of TJ Hawkinson. I think it speaks a lot.
Fair enough. Well, look, let's take a quick break. When we get back, we'll go around the NFL. The Jets, shout out to my guy, Robert Saleh, Dearborn native. What a win
Huge
against
win.
the Buffalo Bills. We'll go around the NFL. Justin Fields and the Bears almost pulled it off against the Miami Dolphins. The Vikings improved to 7-1. A lot to talk about around the league when we get back. We'll see you guys in just a few minutes.
Life is full of hard choices. We're here to make one of life's biggest decisions as simple as possible. My name is Christina Gennari, and for over 20 years, I've helped hundreds of families buy and sell homes. We cover all of Metro Detroit and more, from large luxury homes to starter homes. We will work hard to make sure that you get the home of your dreams. So if you're in the market today or even thinking about buying or selling in the future, make the obvious choice. Christina Gennari, the obvious choice in real estate. Visit us at soldchristina.com today.
You have an opinion? Make sure it's seen and heard. Corner, jumper, Allen! Tweet us, hop on the YouTube chat, slide in the DMS at Woodward Sports on all social media.
Let me tell you about our friends at Swiss Insurance, because Swiss Insurance Group and their employees are heavily involved in their community. It's very rewarding, but also comes with great responsibility. If you sit on a local youth sports board, homeowners association, or volunteer coach, directors and officers insurance is a must. Make sure the kids, parents, and volunteers are protected. Call Swiss Insurance today.
All right, we are back here on the Morning Woodward Show. Let's go around the NFL. Stick, it's all you. I think I'm done for today. I'm already under the weather. I don't think I should be smoking anymore.
11-6. Hookah Monday.
All right. Here's where we're at, boys. Here's where we're at. Let's go around the league. Let's start with the New York Jets. All right. I want to take a little time to really appreciate what Robert Saleh is doing. Not only am I rooting hard for the guy, obviously I have local, bias towards him, and I want to see him succeed big time. But what a gutsy performance by his team. Zach Wilson and the New York Jets. That defense, Sauce Gardner is the truth. He is legit. But the Jets beat the Bills. They're now 6-3. And again, you want to talk about narratives, Jeff? The Bills were 5-3, staring down the barrel of 5-4. No chance they were going to beat the Bills. 10.5-point dogs. They go out and beat the Bills. What a performance by the Jets. Robert Saleh, so happy for you. Now 6-3. The Bills, I believe, are now 6-2. Correct me if I'm wrong. That division's wide open. Miami is now 6-3, I believe. That division's wide open. And I am so happy for Robert Saleh right now. Good for the Jets. Good on them. Great performance over the weekend. I'll keep cheerleading. I don't care if you guys don't like it or not. I'm so happy for Robert Saleh. What a performance. It makes me really proud to see him having success out in New York. I hope it continues, and I hope, not only they contend for the division this year, that they make some noise maybe for a wild card spot and maybe even the playoffs. Who knows? So we'll wait and see, but let's go around the NFL. We saw the Miami Dolphins take care of business against the Bears, but Justin Fields, Jeff, 173 yards on 10 carries, 3 passing touchdowns, 1 rushing touchdown. Jeff, Justin Fields on the year, I believe the stat, 17 of 18 on third down.
Yeah.
When he runs it. Wow.
And I got to give credit to the Bears offensive coordinator, because one thing we saw earlier on with Justin Fields in the season is him kind of standing in the pocket and making him be a pocket passer. That's not Justin Fields. Like, you look at the mobility he has running a 4.4 before the draft as well. You got to capitalize on his elusiveness. Get him out in open space. Allow him to throw on the run. And they've been doing that lately. And Justin Fields has been playing great football. Last 2 weeks, 5 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. And you talk about his performance on the ground. This offense for the Bears has taken strides over the last couple of weeks. And I think we'll get into it later in the week against the Lions. Their defense, obviously, they're in a rebuild right now. But offensively, trading for Chase Claypool, it helped out Darnell Mooney. I mean, for being a number 2 option now, the defense isn't solely focused all on Mooney, but Justin Fields has been playing great football, Adam, and it's helped the Bears a lot. They were in the game. Miami, though, they're just a different animal. Tua is still undefeated with him starting from the beginning to the end of the game, but give credit to the Bears for fighting. I mean, it was at Soldier Field, and they stayed in it, and that was thanks to Justin Fields.
It was a gutsy win for Miami. It was a gut check, really, for them, too. Another solid game, 3 touchdowns. That offense is just impossible to deal with. Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle running all over the field. It is impossible. Let's go to a team that's struggling. The Raiders come out, start hot against the Jacksonville Jaguars, and they blow the game. They are not only pathetic, Jeff. You have to call a spade a spade. They're now 2-6, 0-5 on the road. Josh McDaniels is an excellent, not good, not very good, not great, excellent offensive coordinator. And not a head coach. And that's okay, right? Like, let's just be a little self-aware this morning. Not everybody can be a great head coach. Jim Schwartz, a very good defensive coordinator. Not a great head coach. Josh McDaniels should just stick to being an offensive play caller. That is what he excels at. He's so good at it. But losing again it's brutal. It's disgusting. They're underachieving. They're 2-6. You want to talk about teams that are underachieving? The Raiders being 2-6, 0-5 on the road. That is pathetic. The Raiders and the Lions are the only two teams in the NFL this year that haven't won on the road. So that was a tough pill to swallow, if I'm honest, because you want to see Josh McDaniels have success because of how good he's been as an OC.
Right.
But that just isn't it. And then go ahead.
No, I was going to say to have the same record as the Lions, but this offseason really go all in. I mean, spending money on Devontae Adams, Chandler Jones. You already have Max Crosby, Derek Carr, veteran quarterback. Obviously, they are underachieving. Talk about underachieving. 2-6 for the Raiders. I think they'll string along some wins later in the season. But this defense for the Raiders, too, is a legitimate issue. And moving forward, Josh McDaniels, I don't know his future in Las Vegas. I do like Josh McDaniels, but I think you're onto something here, Adam. I mean, even his tenure with the Denver Broncos, they started off hot. They weren't able to make adjustments. That season kind of got torn and thrown away. But still on top of that, they're going to have to look themselves in the mirror. I mean, for Josh McDaniels, for the Raiders, they are very quick-triggered in making head coaching changes. I don't think they'll make one this offseason. But Josh McDaniels is trending on that hot seat direction in about a year or so, I'd say.
Well, you know what? There was a team that I was very confident in winning on Sunday, and they did not, and that was the Arizona Cardinals, the Seattle Seahawks. Top of their division, now 6-3. They keep finding ways to win. And you want to talk about what a cover corner looks like? Tariq Woolen, third-round draft pick?
Fifth.
Was it fifth or third?
Fifth. Kobe Bryant, their corner.
I thought Kobe was the fifth.
No, he was the third. He was. But think about it, fifth-round pick for Woolen.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, he's a stud.
DeAndre Hopkins burned them on the first drive of the game.
Yeah.
You know what they did after? Nothing. Nothing. They took DeAndre Hopkins out of the game completely.
Frustrated him and Kyler Murray. They were arguing on the sidelines.
Absolutely. And you know what?
Yeah.
I will admit when I'm wrong. I was very critical of Pete Carroll down the stretch last season. I was critical of him in the offseason.
Right.
I was not a fan of the Seattle Seahawks basically mortgaging their future. Not mortgaging, but, getting a haul of picks, I don't want to say throwing away, but giving away their franchise quarterback. This is prior to us all realizing how bad Russell Wilson is. And I gave him a lot of flack. And you know what? Humbly, I was dead wrong. And shout out to Pete Carroll. He's in the Coach of the Year conversation. If not, he's the front runner, in my opinion, with Brian Dable and Robert Saleh.
Yeah.
Pete Carroll has done an excellent job with the Seattle Seahawks. They are overachieving. The rookies are playing out of their minds. He's starting 2 rookie tackles, 2 rookie corners, a rookie running back, and they are winning. I can't say anything but good things, Jeff, about the Seattle Seahawks and Pete Carroll.
Talk about Kenneth Walker, too.
Unreal.
I mean, my God, the fact that Rashad Penny gets injured, obviously you never want to see an injury like that. But for Kenneth Walker to have the opportunity he's been given and them to really trust him, I mean, putting a heavy workload on Kenneth Walker, and he's responded. I mean, he's translated right to the pros. What we've seen at the collegiate level, he's doing that and more at the pros so far against professional players. So give credit to Kenneth Walker, but I'm with you. I think Pete Carroll right now,
and I don't want to.
You could probably say, yeah, it's a 2-man race for what they've been given. Pete Carroll deserves to be in that Coach of the Year race, especially considering how many rookies he's starting, and they have 2 first-round picks this year. Bright future, I think, in Seattle.
I don't want to pour salt on an open wound, okay? Hear me out. I'm really not trying to do this, especially on a Monday where you won, all right? But Seattle had no business contending.
No.
And you look at their draft.
You could make an argument.
You look at their coaches.
You can make an argument they were
just wow.
Roster-wise, one of the worst rosters.
They were in the Bryce
NFL.
Young, C.J. Stroud conversation going into the year.
Besides the weapons they have offensively.
Unreal.
My gosh.
I don't want to spend too much time on this game. New England, Indianapolis. Matt Ryan, get healthy and play. That is embarrassing. That is embarrassing. The Colts suck. They absolutely suck. Bill Belichick somehow finds a way to be 5-4 again. What a surprise. Mac Jones honestly, did a decent job. The defense for New England, though, I went up against them in fantasy. They scored 29 points. Gave me a goddamn heart attack. That was brutal.
Hey, I had Joe Mixon yesterday.
Oh, did you? Oh, yeah, that's right. You did.
Handed the beat down. 55 points in fantasy.
Goodness me. 5
Ridiculous.
touchdowns, right?
Yeah. 4 on the ground, 1 in the air.
Speaking of which, we'll cover it a little bit. Bengals dominate.
Yeah,
Baker Mayfield had a good second half. Whatever. Nobody cares. He'll be out of the league soon, too. But good for the Bengals. Big win for them. Minnesota-Washington. This is the game.
Yeah.
This was such a good game. It was ugly, but it was a good game to watch. Back and forth. Boy, down the stretch. Minnesota really botched it. But that running into the kicker cost Washington an opportunity to go down and tie the game. And that's what made the difference. And you know what? To Minnesota's credit, they're 7-1. Kevin O'Connell, wow. He's been arguably the rookie hire of the year along with Brian Dable.
Yep.
Those two have been home runs so far. And you know what? I just literally said Robert Saleh, Pete Carroll, and Brian Dable for Coach of the Year.
He's in there. Yeah.
He's got to be in there too, man.
Yeah. No question.
I wish I could give the award to a lot of coaches. There's only one award to give out. But my goodness, 7-1, the best record in the NFL, only behind the Philadelphia Eagles. Good on Minnesota, and their only loss to the Philadelphia Eagles, by the way.
Yeah. And moving forward, too, with the Minnesota Vikings, with the acquisition of T.J. Hutchinson, 9 catches for 70 yards. On a team like Minnesota, he's going to have an impact, clearly. We talk about Kevin O'Connell and the offensive mind he is, the weapons that Kirk Cousins has. Now, Kirk Cousins in prime time is a different animal, but as of right now, a win on the road against a team that technically in that game, they were struggling. They found a way to win. That's all that matters. Taylor Heineke as a starting quarterback has a winning record so far. And for them to beat the Commanders at home by 3, they kicked the field goal at the end to win the game. It's a perfect end of the story. I think they won, I don't know if this is exactly correct, but out of 8 games now,
One possession games?
Yes. 1 possession games, and a majority of those games they found a way to win. And I think that's coaching at the end of the day and players executing. But give credit where it's due. Kevin O'Connell's in that Coach of the Year conversation. He's a hell of a coach.
Fair enough. I agree with it completely. Here's the agenda. When we get back, Michigan and Jim Harbaugh improved to 9-0. They're in the 3rd in the AP poll. I do disagree. Michigan State, a big win on the road against Illinois. That fraudulent side of the conference, that is a joke to me. They got to remove divisions. It's a bad look. It's just a bad look, but
yeah.
What are you going to do? Illinois suck. Way to go, Michigan State. Gutsy win by Mel Tucker, but we'll talk about that in just a bit. But before we go, I got to tell you about Planet Fitness, home of the judgment-free zone. Sign up today for $0 down, $10 a month. Your fitness is essential. Make sure you get to the gym. A daily lifestyle, right? You got to be active. Take care of your mental and physical health. You can do it at Planet Fitness. So get started today by visiting them in-store or at planetfitness.com.
At work and at home, we're there with smarter security solutions. Featuring complete automation with customized alerts and more. For over 90 years, we've been the company that's been counted on to protect what matters most, all with personalized service and care. Right now, for a limited time, receive a free video device plus free installation with a new home system. Guardian Alarm. We protect Michigan.
When you need apparel, there's only one place to go. Big Frog in Novi. With no setup fees, no artwork fees, no minimum, and a 24-hour turnaround, you can have your whole team outfitted in no time. Embroidery, direct-to-garment, vinyl, and screen printing, Big Frog has it all in all the styles you want. So whether it's a sports team, fundraiser, school event, or corporate needs, Big Frog is your one-stop destination. Visit bigfrog.com/Novi or call 844-4-BIG-FROG.
Miraculous catch! Follow us everywhere. Just search Woodward Sports on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, IG, and more.
Jeff Iafrate here. Let me tell you about our friends at Alta. Because, guys, at Alta, uptime matters. Alta Equipment has everything you need to get the job done. If you have a big project coming up, well, Alta Rent has you covered. Call them today, 844-GO-TO-ALTA. That's 844-GO-TO-ALTA today.
All right, we are back here on the Morning Woodward Show. Michigan State visit Champaign. And they drank a lot of champagne. Gutsy win, coming off arguably probably the lowest point in the Mel Tucker era, where you have that tunnel incident. It's on tape. It's not a good look. You suspend 8 players. You're having to do PR control, releasing statements, apologizing. You're a losing football team at the moment.
Recruits are decommitting. I mean,
it was a rough week for Michigan State going into that game, and Illinois 17.5-point favorites, I believe, going into it. It was that was brutal. But to Michigan State's credit, they were 3-5 going into that game, and they showed up and they won, and it was gutsy. And Mel Tucker and his coaching staff and the program deserve a ton of credit for the way they handled it, going on the road and beating a ranked opponent. He has the most wins against ranked opponents on the road in college football since he became the head coach of Michigan State. Think about that, Jeff. Gutsy performance by Michigan State. Nothing but credit to them. Will they get into the bowl game? We'll see. They've got, what do they got? Rutgers coming up. Should be able to win it. Indiana, I don't want to say should win, but they should be able to win these next 2 games at home. That'll get them into a bowl game. And then Penn State on the road. I don't see it, but those are your next 3 games. And if you win 2 of the next 3, you're in a bowl game, and the rest is history, Jeff.
And if you want to sit here and say, well, it's Illinois, I'm just not going to do that today. I want to give credit where it's due. And Michigan State, coming off a week, like you just said, the whole locker room incident or the tunnel incident, facing the criticism they face, suspending 8 players, having recruits, 5 recruits, if I'm not mistaken, decommit from Michigan State. I don't think that's all because of the incident, but that's just because of the season so far. For them to respond and Jalen Berger to run the ball the way he did, because we've been looking for that performance for quite some time, and the offense kind of get going. The defense showed up. I think Scott Hazelton, to his credit, put together a pretty good game plan, and they held Illinois to 15 points. So, again, give credit where it's due. I don't think this is a program-changing win, but it's certainly a respectable win. It really is. I'm not going to sit here and pull it's Illinois. I just think that's lazy, and you got to give credit where it's due. Credit to Michigan State for finding a way to win, and that's really the storyline today. I think they deserve it.
They deserve a ton of credit, and again, I think that is it's a big win from the program, man.
Yeah.
I understand it's not propelling you into being a ranked team, and you still have a losing record. I understand all those factors, but considering what happened against Michigan, they were dominated.
And they were counted out this week again.
And then the aftermath incident, that was embarrassing for the program. To come out on the road against Illinois, who were at the top of their division in the Big Ten West, it's a gutsy, huge win. Good for Michigan State. Michigan 9-0, Jeff, 3rd in the AP poll. Thoughts? Line of scrimmage, clearly they can control the line of scrimmage. Whether or not they'll be able to do it against a Georgia is a different conversation. But the way this season is trending, it may be Georgia, Michigan in the national title game. Because I don't think anybody in the country outside of Georgia can beat Michigan right now. And I mean that. Neutral site, give me Michigan. Michigan on the road in Columbus, haven't won since 2000. Right. That's going to be a big test game. But Michigan? Sorry, I think they're the second best team in the country.
And I ask this question every week, but for the committee, how are you judging Ohio State and Michigan? Because if you look at, let's just bring up Penn State, for example. Penn State, Michigan dominated, right? I mean, we could talk about that. I know defensively against Ohio State, Sean Clifford threw 3 interceptions, but that game was much closer, especially late in the game, than Ohio State wanted it to be. And then you have Michigan off their most recent victories, Ohio State only winning by 2 touchdowns against Northwestern, struggling early on in that game. They couldn't throw the football. And then you have Michigan, played close. The second half, they shut down Rutgers. They score, 20-something points in the third quarter. If we're basing it off those performances, I don't understand why Michigan isn't number 2 in the country. I'm not going to sit here and complain too much. They are still in the conversation. I do think they are good enough to be 2, but the good part about this is it'll be decided at the end of the year. They'll be playing each other. So I don't really care. The AP poll, we talk about this every week, where people are ranked. It doesn't really make a ton of sense, but I think the overall consensus thing we can all say is Georgia, to me, is still the best team in the country. I mean, what they did to Tennessee.
Yeah, they have the best win in the country, I would argue.
No question. So, again, if you want to nitpick them being 2 or 3, that's fine. I think they should be 2. The bigger storyline is they're a top 3 team in the country, and it's a wide-open playing field right now in college football. It really is, compared to previous years.
Again, so some of the comments in the chat, Ohio State better than Michigan, Tennessee is better than Michigan. I don't believe that. I don't, and I don't know how you watch Michigan and take away they are not the second best team in the country at the moment. They're clicking on all cylinders on defense.
Right.
Offensively, they can run the ball on anybody. And Look,
they take care of the football too.
As much as I want
really.
to sit here and say conservative, open it up a little bit, open up the offense. They're winning their games. And do I think they need to open it up a little bit? Yes, to beat maybe Ohio State and Georgia this year. I do, but they're not moving off their formula. And I'm sorry, their formula is 9-0 this year. And it had them, 11-2 last season?
Mm-hmm.
Give me a break. Give me a break. Or 12-2, excuse me, last year. They were 11-1 in the regular season, so Big Ten championship. Yeah, 12-2.
Yeah,
so
when it was all said and done.
21-2 in their last 23 games. J.J. McCarthy, I was told, turnover prone. He's done a damn good job protecting the ball. Do I think they need to be able to throw the ball better? I do.
They're close.
But they are close. And again, I see the second best team in the country. I really do.
Yeah. I'm with you. Until proven otherwise, as of right now, Ohio State, that game coming off what they did against Northwestern, I don't know how you could still say they're 2. Now, if they put together some performances and Michigan struggles, we can have a conversation. But at this moment,
you guys,
I'm going to give that nod to Michigan.
Let's not forget the fact that Rutgers have always been a problem for Michigan, especially on the road at night. Greg Schiano always has his teams ready to play. And what did Michigan do? They went into the locker room, they made second-half adjustments, and they dominated Rutgers.
Mm-hmm.
In a game that was really lost in the first half, Michigan completely ran away with in the second half. I'm not going to overlook that at all.
Especially the talent they lost, like we said, we already talked about it, but the talent they lost from last year's team, to be able to supplement that and still have guys making plays for them, deserves credit. Honestly, final score 52-17. I mean, you got to talk about it. Let's be honest. Considering what Ohio State just did to Northwestern. Again, it was different conditions, but very impressive win.
CJ Stroud struggled over the weekend. The wind, I'm sure, had a lot to do with it.
Oh, yeah, it was terrible. But still, it's
look, they did their job.
Yeah.
They went out there, they executed, they won. If you want to keep Ohio State at 2, sure, I just don't agree with it.
Right.
I see a team that struggles, but defensively, Ohio State are starting to click.
Mm-hmm.
All right, it's back-to-back weeks. Their defense has shown out. So that'll be a focal point moving forward. When we get back, let's talk some Brad Holmes. Continuing to show his value. Are his draft picks good enough or not good enough so far through 8 games this season and all of last season? We'll get to Brad Holmes in just a bit, but before we go, Jeff, our good friends over at Big Frog.
Get a free Woodward Sports t-shirt. That's right, a free Woodward Sports t-shirt all month long at Big Frog and Novi. Stop in, tell them we sent you. They will print one out for you on the spot. So go to Big Frog and Novi today, get your free t-shirt, or visit them online at bigfrog.com/Novi.
For a limited time only, all new burgers and loaded fries at Big Boy. It's not a Slim Jim, it's the Big Jim. The chili cheese is such a tease. Guess what else is new? The bacon blue. How about upgrading those fries? Chili cheese fries, baked potato fries, nacho fries. What will it be? Satisfy those taste buds at Big Boy.
My name is Lee. I've lost 35 pounds on the Custom Health Center program. So the 3 biggest benefits that I've gotten from this program has been I'm not snoring anymore, I have a lot of energy, it's great, and oh, by the way, look at this. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding.
Call us at 844-789-THIN or visit CustomHealthCenters.com for a free consultation and get started for as little as $5 a day.
Woodward Avenue, the first paved road in America. Woodward Sports, the first sports network born in Detroit and made for Detroit.
And we are back here on the Morning Woodward Show live from Feldman Chevrolet out in Novi. It was really a perfect sweep for all of Michigan. Michigan won, Michigan State won, the Red Wings won 2 games. A lot of good things. A lot of good things coming out this weekend.
Good weekend.
Of course, the Lions won. Jeff, let's go over the draft class. Last 2 years, has Brad Holmes done enough of a job for you?
Oh, no question. I mean, we talk. What's the narrative we always talk about? Find 2 to 3 starters per draft. We'll start with the first draft. Penei Sewell, hit on Penei Sewell. The only really miss you could say, I mean, there's some misses, but early is Levi Ozrike because he's hurt, and it could be a career-ending injury. But besides that, Ali McNeil in the 3rd round, Iffy, who's been solid, he's a contributor. Amon-Ra St. Brown, really your number 1 wide receiver at this point. Derek Barnes, solid contributor, had his best game on Sunday. Right now, we're 5 for 6 right now in terms of who he selected. And then you have Jamar Jefferson. Okay, it's a miss, 7th-round miss. I mean, who gives a rat's ass about that? Following this draft, most recently, Aidan Hutchinson. We'd say that's a hit. Jamison Williams, haven't seen him, but you like what he can do and what he can bring to this offense. Still got to see it. Josh Pascal, that's a solid contributor. Kerby Joseph, we'll just move on because we know what Kerby is at this point. James Mitchell, solid contributor. Malcolm Rodriguez, he's your starting linebacker, first 6th-round pick. James Houston, you cut him. Now he's on your, I'm pretty sure he's on your practice squad. So if you want to call that a miss, that's fine. 6th-round draft pick. Chase Lucas, haven't seen him play yet. We don't really know his potential, but at least he's more depth for your secondary. Let's be honest, Adam. In these 2 drafts, you really could argue maybe he's got 2 misses. If you want to say Levi, Jamar's definitely a miss, but really the 2 misses are late.
7th round is not a miss,
That's,
so I'm
that's
just
where I was
say
going.
Levi.
Really,
Levi's
the only
one.
miss he's had truly is Levi in the 2nd round because of injury. Other than that, Adam, he's drafted as well as you could have asked him to draft, given the situation. He's found talent late in the draft, and he's finding guys who can contribute right away, and that's what matters. I mean, yeah, you want to talk about the injuries, that's fine. Josh Pascal returns. Solid, right? Jamison Williams, when he returns, and if he's a great player, a potential Pro Bowler, who cares at this point? So I think Brad's done a phenomenal job so far in the draft. We'll see with free agency. That's kind of the other part of it. You want to see him and be aggressive. We'll see how he spends the money. But in terms of the draft, which is why he was brought here to identify talent, Adam, he's done a great job. He really has.
Peaceful Tim says, Kerby had one good game. Let's not crown him yet. All right, Tim, let's backtrack. Prior to this week, last week he forced a fumble. The week prior he forced a fumble. Right. He was coming off 2 very good defensive performances, and then he followed it up this week with arguably the best performance of any single defensive player in all of the NFL with 10 tackles, 2 interceptions.
What you're saying
3 pass
is
deflections.
he's gotten better every start he's played.
I think that is what I'm saying. Yes.
So and that's what you'd want out of your 3rd-round rookie, right? I mean, he didn't start the whole season. He only started 3 games.
He's not Ed Reed yet. He's not Ed Reed. We're not going there. But let's again. But you can't not acknowledge what's going on the field right now.
Right.
He is playing very well. He's been playing very well. Those draft picks again, mostly hits. Not everybody's gonna. And this is like a problem I see. Not just. It's not a Detroit thing. This is everywhere. This is in Pittsburgh. This is in Chicago, L.A., Tampa Bay. It doesn't matter where. Fans typically overrate their own players, all right? Let's just admit this, all right? It's a flaw in every single one of us. You tend to overrate your own players. If you are a good GM, you pull a starter or 2 out of every draft, and one of them, maybe if you're lucky, is a Pro Bowler. The good GMs get 2, 3 starters, and one of them or 2 of them are a Pro Bowler. And then the occasional All-Pro player, right? Brad Holmes, it looks like he's giving you an All-Pro and Penei Sewell. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Pro Bowl potential, but a wide receiver too. I'm not sure yet. Yeah, still way too early. But still, St. Brown, I think you would all agree, phenomenal player.
Yeah, no question. He's a hit.
Derek Barnes. No, not a 1A starter, not a Bobby Wagner, not a Levante David, not a Shaq Leonard now. Darius Leonard. God, I can't believe he changed his name.
Leonard, yeah.
But you get where I'm going
Solid
here.
Contributor.
But he can be a guy that you're giving 30, 40, 50% of your snaps to once you've upgraded. Hell, he can even start if he's playing alongside a very competent player, just like Malcolm Rodriguez. Same thing. He's been solid so far. Not excellent, not a foundational piece, but a starter. A guy that can go out there and not make you look like an idiot. And then you have Kerby Joseph, who, look, Tracy Walker, wishing him the best of recoveries, but you want to talk about a blessing in disguise. Kerby Joseph getting the start, having to learn the hard way, getting out there, thrown in those weeks, and now for the 3rd consecutive week has gotten better week to week to week. That pick right now, he might be a top 8 safety in the next 3 years. That's where he's trending.
Mm-hmm.
That's where he's trending. It's not what he is right now, but that's where he's trending. Aidan Hutchinson, can he be a top 8 pass rusher? I do believe so. You got some players, Detroit. And your GM's done a hell of a job, Jeff.
And to think, too, Kerby Joseph, still very raw. Like, this guy, I mean, in college, he was kind of teetering between wide receiver and DB, playing safety. Had a big year his senior year. And the Lions saw it as, listen, a guy who has great ball tracking skills. He has good instincts. You can develop him. And, my God, look how he's developed.
Oh, God.
That's a positive.
Andrew Smith.
What's going on?
If you come out to Feldman Chevrolet, I'll give you $100 cash. right now.
Isn't it great that our third safety has better
if you can be here
numbers
by
than
10:15.
Kyle Hamilton?
I'll give you $100. I'll tell you why. That
my
comment is my
gosh.
favorite comment of the day. I forgot about Kyle Hamilton. I forgot he plays football.
Yeah, I think
was told Kyle Hamilton should be taken number 2 overall. That's what I was told. I was told Kyle Hamilton is the next Ed Reed. Meanwhile, he's sucking ass in Baltimore with a way better defense, while Kerby Joseph is out here balling in Detroit. Oh, by the way, 3rd-round pick. Tracy Walker, 5th-round pick. What do you know? Guys, the NFL is much simpler than you think. When you're picking in the top 5, you're taking a quarterback, an offensive lineman, and in today's NFL, a game-changing wide receiver. That's what you're taking, or a pass rusher. Those are your 4 options, because those are the 4 most important positions in football right now. Yep. Protect the quarterback, get after the quarterback, give him a weapon, draft the quarterback. Those are the 4. That's what you do in the top 5, top 10. Now, 12 to 18 to 24 to 32, now you can talk about a corner, a safety, and all that. But please, kick rocks and talk to me about Kyle Hamilton, please. Great comment, Andrew. Well done, buddy. Well done. The best comment of the day, 100%. Way to be. You're the champ this morning. Way to be, Kyle Hamilton. I forgot about him. Him and Malik Willis. The Lions should have taken Malik Willis at 2, Kyle Hamilton at 12, and all of the problems would have been solved right now. The Lions would be 6-2. Just imagine.
You think the Brad Holmes slander's bad now? My gosh.
What a joke.
If you left with those 2 players.
I love it. I'm all for it.
And it's funny,
Hamilton.
too, not to get by the way.
By the people at this network. Love you guys. I was told he's the next Ed Reed. Would you not draft the next Ed Reed at number 2? I have yet to see the next Ed Reed.
I remember those comments.
I have seen more Ed Reed and Kerby Joseph than I have in Kyle Hamilton. That's a fact.
And by the way, Kerby Joseph, we did our mock drafts weeks and weeks prior to the draft.
He was in every single one of them.
Every one. And it
was
in the 3rd round, too.
Pick 96, I believe it was.
Every
single time it was Kerby Joseph.
Loved his instincts coming out, and he's proven to be that way. You'd rather take a safety in the 3rd round. We compared safeties in the NFL that have been taken in the 2nd, 3rd, 4th round. Kyle and Kerby Joseph's on track to be one of those players.
Monday. The Lions win. Mm-hmm. Malik Willis has the greatest performance in Sunday Night Football history. Kyle Hamilton, we'll see what he does tonight against the New Orleans Saints, but clearly he's the best player in the NFL from what I was told. The Lions missed big, man. They missed big. They drafted Aidan Hutchinson. He's been a scrub. Kerby Joseph, 3rd round. He's been a scrub. Yeah, should have drafted Kyle Hamilton and Malik Willis, man.
Don't forget about.
I see the light. I see it.
Don't forget about Josh Pascal. Why are you drafting Josh Pascal?
He's injured, Jeff. Shut up.
I mean, honestly. And then he's back from injury and he's making an immediate impact. Who would have thought?
Sucks.
Who would have thought?
He sucks.
I love it. I love it.
All right, let's take a quick break. When we get back, mailbag time. So everybody watching live over at woodwardsports.com, feel free, write your questions in the chat. Jeff and I will answer them, and we'll be right back in just a moment. But before we do, Jeff, our good friends over at the Sports Marketing Agency.
The Sports Marketing Agency helps spread awareness about mental health and substance abuse. Their new podcast, This is the S Word, will help fight the stigma about seeking help. If you or someone you know is struggling, head to thesportsma.com for more information.
Hey, it's Rodrigo from the Detroit Lions. I'm here hanging out at my favorite Feldman dealership. Not only did I get my Chevy from Feldman, but in my free time, I just like to hang around the best car people in the business, where it's fun being number 1. Feldman has locations all over Michigan, so no matter where I find myself, I can hang with the friendly faces at Feldman Chevrolet. So if you need a new Chevy, or maybe a new friend, come on down to Feldman Chevrolet, Michigan's number 1 Chevy dealer.
Introducing the Planet Fitness Guide to getting that post-workout glow. Step 1, what's your why? More epic energy, better sleep, blow off steam? Step 2, join Planet Fitness for just $10 a month and get moving in our clean and spacious clubs. Step 3, bask in that post-workout glow. Join Planet Fitness today for just $10 a month.
Join today at any of the 50-plus Detroit area locations.
Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device.
Jeff Iafrate here. Let me tell you about our friends at the Fulling Warehouse in Hamtramck, because it's the home of the original football bowling game. 2 to play for $12 and limited open play. Or you could pay $120 for a lane reservation for you and 9 other people. $2 mystery mirror machine, full bar. You can check it all out. FoldingWarehouse.com.
All right, we are back from Mailbag Live here at Feldman Chevrolet out in Novi. Jeff, let's start with this question. Barnes over Anzalone? Your call.
Sure. I mean, Barnes had a great game. He really did, but there's also been some performances you like to question Derek Barnes. But Anzalone also has had they're both up and down. Those two, I think for the future, Derek Barnes, I think he still has a lot of room to improve. Obviously, Anzalone's a veteran, but at this point, let's see what Derek Barnes, I would start playing him a lot more. Let's see what he can do.
Do you guys think Blake Corum should be the front runner for the Heisman after this week? That's a tough one for me.
Yeah, because Donovan Edwards.
Hendon Hooker, I think, is still 1.
Yeah.
Stroud 2, and I would put Blake 3.
I'm with you.
I just think Blake has to have such a performance
right
for the next 2 games leading into Ohio State, on top of dominating the Ohio State game, to get himself into that conversation.
Even to get invited.
And
yeah.
even then, the Big Ten championship game, dominating there, it's Blake Corum, look, the reality is he's a running back. He's been exceptional all year.
Mm-hmm.
His numbers match up with any previous Heisman winner at running back. But the odds, it is a quarterback's award now. So I do believe he should be in the top 3 at least, yes.
Yeah,
I would say top 3 or 4.
I think he'll make the trip to New York. But also it's tough because last year with Kenneth Walker, there was no Donovan Edwards, right, running behind him. So I think that's also the thing for Blake Corum is even how well he's been playing, to have a guy like Donovan go for 100 right behind you. Kenneth didn't have that for Michigan State, and he didn't get invited down to New York. But it is the Michigan brand, so we'll see. I think he'll get invited, but I don't think he wins it.
Would you include Killian in a trade for Oladipo or where the hell is it? I just missed it. Would you include Killian Hayes in a trade for Oladipo or Thibault?
I mean, Thibault I'll take. I like Thibault a lot. Brings defense. You need guys who can defend on the perimeter with this team currently. Killian, it's tough. He's playing god-awful, so if a trade arises and Troy thinks it's worth it, then I'm riding with it. But if you want to let him develop for the rest of the season, they're not really playing for anything, I'm also cool with that as well. So both scenarios I'm fine with. Honestly,
Adam,
I don't really care.
Tennessee, Michigan / Oregon or TCU all have 1 loss. They may not take Michigan based on the other non-conference and their wins because all the other teams have better wins. Yeah, I disagree, although you are correct, Jesse. At the end of the day, I don't care about Tennessee's win against Bama if they're a 1-loss team. I don't, because Bama's a 2-loss team. And I'm sorry, again, and they'll probably be 3-loss after they lose to Georgia. If Michigan's only loss is a 36-33 or a 38-37 loss to Ohio State in Columbus,
yeah, they're
I
getting
am
in.
not going to knock them. Now, if they lose by a touchdown or 2, they're probably going to miss out and they're going to go to the Rose Bowl. Fine. I'll accept that. But as of right now, if the game were to be played this weekend and they lost 28-27, 38-37, 19-18, 19-17, I'm making the tough call and I'm having Michigan in the top 4. I just am. That's where I'm at this morning. Let's see what else we have here on the. Do you guys think Michigan can beat Ohio State again this year, Matthew? I do. I think Michigan has all the tools needed to beat Ohio State. They can control the line of scrimmage both offensively and defensively. I think they're going to give Ohio State problems this year in Columbus, Jeff.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, for Michigan fans, you should have just as much confidence this year as maybe you did last year, heading in facing Ohio State. Yes, it was in Ann Arbor, but this year it's in Columbus. I think the team, you still have a lot of talent, a lot of depth on that defensive line, and JJ's taking care of the football. So I think they have just as good of a chance as they had last year, but we'll see. We'll see. Got to have guys step up and have an Aidan Hutchinson-esque performance. Got to have big players. Players got to make plays.
Right,
what other questions we got? How effed are the Packers salary cap-wise? Very screwed. I mean, the Packers.
Oh, yeah, Packers are done.
You're in a tough situation. I mean, they really are. They got to get wide receivers, but again, paying Aaron Rodgers $50 million.
Chris asks a good question.
It's a tough one.
With the Jets' success so far this season, do you believe Sauce will win Defensive Rookie of the Year over Hutchinson? And what will Detroit's fans' reactions be given the previous history of the Defensive Rookie of the Year going to the second pick defensive end? A lot of game left. A lot of game left. Sauce has earned it so far.
Yeah, no question.
The only way Aidan wins this award is if he can string together 5 to 6.5 more sacks down the stretch, a forced fumble and maybe a defensive touchdown. But right now, it's Sauce. He's running away with it.
Mm-hmm.
And Hutchinson is the clear 2, by the way.
Yeah.
But it is Sauce.
Sauce has been amazing
You can't
all
deny
year.
him.
Consistent.
As much as that trend is going in that direction for the award, at the end of the day, it should go to the player that deserves it the most.
Yeah.
And I just believe Sauce deserves it the most. Let's see what other questions we have in the chat. Let's see, Jeff. If Justin Fields is on the Lions, are they a playoff team? No. 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 No, no, no. 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 Not at all. Cool. Moving on. Let's see what other questions we have. Do you guys see the possibility of 3 wins within the next 4 weeks? That's for the Lions. Jeff, what do you think?
They do have a lot of winnable games coming up, but also it's against teams that have had better seasons than we expected before. I mean, you look at the Jets and the Giants. I think before the season, a lot of Lions fans could argue, yeah, you could beat those teams. And I think they still have a chance to do that, but both those teams are playing good football. So I really don't have any confidence moving forward. Is maybe a little more than I did last week before the Packers game, but still not a very good football team. And they haven't been consistent, and they haven't really put together a complete game plan where the offense shows up and the defense. So not a lot of confidence heading forward. And you got the Bears this week at Soldier Field. So
who wins more games this year, the Raiders or the Lions?
The Raiders.
That's an interesting one.
I think the Raiders do, yeah. The Raiders will.
I think the Raiders are in for
It's not like, I mean, you're saying
rough end to the season.
Let's say the Lions win 4, Raiders win 5. I mean, it's technically one more than the Lions, but
comparing.
I don't think they're going to turn it around or
apples to
anything like
apples
that.
here. Fair enough. Let's see what other questions we have. Can the Vikings afford to keep Hawk after this year? Technically, Ethan, yes, they can. They'll have to move around some players, renegotiate some contracts. Don't be surprised if Kirk Cousins restructures his deal in the hopes of not only keeping Hawk but giving the team the flexibility. The Vikings are a team that can really keep this going for 3-4 years if they chose to. This is a good football team. Daniel Hunter looks good. The defense looks good. Kirk Cousins isn't turning the ball over. Harrison Smith, another interception.
Yeah.
Michigan native. I believe, Farmington? Went to Farmington Hills, I believe. Watch out. Watch out. Let's see what other has been going on. Derek Carr has been a big disappointment as well. Yeah, he's been he's let down a lot of people this year. He had a very good season last year with a fake head coach. They snuck into the playoffs at the end. He is not playing. And I don't know if it's on McDaniels, if it's his just regression in play. I'm not a fan of it right now.
Yeah, it's hard to argue adding Devontae and he regresses.
That's all I know.
It's not good.
From a Vikings fan, thank you, Lions, for slamming the door shut on Green Bay. I don't know what's better, my Vikings being 7-1 or the utter collapse of the Packers. Tony, I think we would all agree the collapse of the Packers.
It's a universal joy.
One of the universal joyful moments for any fan base, especially teams that are in the NFC
This has
North.
been the daddy of the NFC North for quite some time. So
26 of the last 30 years, they've had a 500 or better record.
Yeah, so
think about that.
It's definitely a big moment.
Adam, would you have gone for 2 if you were the LSU coach? Yeah, look, I think even if he wouldn't have made it, I think it was the right call. You had momentum. Yeah. You had just scored. You don't want to have to go back out on offense by attempting an extra point. I don't think it's necessary. Go for the win. Go beat Bama. Don't try not to lose to Bama. Go beat Bama. And that's what Brian Kelly did. And you know what? That's another guy I want to give some love this morning to. Brian Kelly. He went from in the embarrassing family Florida State opener loss, right? And then lost, I believe, was it Georgia or Tennessee? I recall they have 2 losses, though, regardless. And then to go out and beat Bama, his first try, big win for Brian Kelly. He's always going to have talent on that LSU team. But that's it for us here at Feldman Chevrolet. Thank you, everybody who joined us this morning.
What a show.
Appreciate it, as always. You all have a great rest of your Monday. Enjoy the win. If you lost in fantasy football this weekend, sucks to suck. If you won, welcome to the Winners Club. Congratulations. You all have a great Monday. Thank you to Feldman Chevrolet out in Novi for having us out. You guys, stay tuned. Big D Energy will be live at 11:01 here from Feldman.
See you tomorrow.
Go watch all the football. How do you not?